Good afternoon, Chef B. How are you doing today?
Hi, Sommelier A. I'm doing great, just preparing some of our signature dishes for our guests.
That sounds amazing. I'm really excited to pair some of our delicious dishes with some of the finest Spanish wines we have in our cellar.
I'm glad to hear that. Speaking of wine, have you tried the Rioja we just got in? It's absolutely stunning.
Oh, I haven't had the chance yet. Let me try it now. Wow, this is fantastic. It has a great balance of fruitiness and spiciness.
That's right. It pairs perfectly with our grilled lamb chops with rosemary and garlic.
I completely agree. But what about our seafood dishes? Do you have any suggestions for them?
The albarino we have goes great with our grilled octopus with chimichurri sauce. It brings out the flavors of the dish really well.
I'll definitely recommend that to our guests. By the way, have you tried our new dessert, the chocolate and orange tart?
Yes, I have. It's really rich and decadent. What would you recommend pairing it with?
I think our Pedro Jimenez sherry would be a great match. Its sweetness complements the bitterness of the chocolate and the acidity of the orange.
That's a fantastic suggestion. I can't wait to see our guests' reactions when they try these pairings.
Me too. We make a great team in making sure our guests have an unforgettable dining experience.
That's right. We should be proud of ourselves for bringing authentic Spanish cuisine and wines to Madrid.
Absolutely. Let's raise a glass to that. Cheers.
Cheers.
Good evening, welcome to our restaurant. Have you made a reservation?
Yes, I have. My name is Claire and I reserved a table for 2 at 7 p.m.
Perfect, let me show you to your table. Here you go, please have a seat.
Thank you. Your menu looks amazing. I'm having a hard time deciding what to order.
I recommend our special tonight. It's a surf and turf dish with a juicy steak and succulent lobster tail.
That sounds delicious, I'll have that. And can I also get a glass of your house red wine, please?
Of course. And how about your companion?
He'll love the steak too, but can he have it cooked medium rare?
Absolutely, we can do that. Would you like to start with any appetizers or salads?
I think we'll just dive straight into the main course.
Sounds great. And do you want to save some room for dessert?
Yes, please. We'll take a look at the dessert menu after our meal.
All right, I'll put your order in. Is there anything else I can assist you with?
No, this is perfect. Thank you for your help.
My pleasure, enjoy your meal. Let me know if you need anything else. Hey there, B. How's it going?
Not too bad, hey. What's up?
I was thinking about how we can optimize our website traffic and conversion rates. Do you have any ideas?
Well, have we looked at our website's landing page yet? That's usually a good starting point.
Definitely. I think we can also consider improving the user experience on our website.
Excellent point. We can use tools like Google Analytics to track user behavior and see where they're getting stuck.
That makes sense. And we can also try A/B testing to see which versions of our website are more effective.
Yes, let's start with some small changes and see how it goes. We can also create some targeted campaigns to drive more traffic to our website.
Agreed. SEO optimization can also be a good way to improve our visibility and bring in more traffic.
Absolutely. We can also consider using social media platforms to promote our website and draw in more visitors.
Good thinking. And we can also try to improve our website's loading speeds to make it more user-friendly.
Definitely. And let's not forget about the importance of creating quality content on our website.
For sure. And we can leverage email marketing to keep our subscribers engaged and informed about updates and promotions.
Yes, let's keep our email campaigns informative and personalized to increase engagement.
And if we're feeling really ambitious, we can try using chatbots to assist our website visitors in real time.
That's a cool idea. Overall, I think with some thoughtful attention and small improvements, we can really improve our website's performance.
Agreed, let's get to work. Hi, can I help you find something to read today?
Hi, yes please. I'm looking for a good mystery novel.
Sure thing. Have you read any Agatha Christie books?
Yes, I love her books. Do you have any of her titles available?
Let me check. Yes, we have Murder on the Orient Express and Then There Were None available.
Oh, I've read those already. Do you have anything similar?
How about The Cuckoo's Calling by Robert Galbraith? It's a great mystery novel that keeps you guessing until the very end.
That sounds interesting. I'll take that one.
Great choice. Would you like to check it out or read it in the library?
I think I'll check it out, please.
Alright, let me just scan your library card and the book.
Thank you. Oh, can you recommend any other books that you've enjoyed?
Sure, have you read Eleanor Oliphant is Completely Fine by Gail Honeyman? It's a heartwarming novel about a quirky woman and her journey towards self-discovery.
No, I haven't heard of it. I'll add it to my list. Thanks for the recommendation.
You're welcome. That's what we're here for. Enjoy your book and have a great day.
Thanks, you too.
Hi there. I'm really enjoying this beach.
I'm glad to hear that. This beach is a great place to relax and soak up some sun.
Definitely. I also noticed how clear the water is here. Do you know anything about the marine life in this area?
Yes, this is actually a protected marine sanctuary. It's home to various marine creatures such as sea turtles, dolphins, and colorful coral reefs.
That's amazing to hear. Is there anything being done to preserve and protect the marine life here?
Definitely. The local government has set up various conservation programs to protect the marine ecosystem. Also, resorts and businesses around the area also practice responsible tourism by adhering to strict environmental policies.
That's really commendable. It's great to see that everyone is doing their part to preserve the beauty of this place.
Yes, and it's not just for us to enjoy now, but also for the generations to come.
Absolutely. I will make sure to spread the word about the importance of marine conservation and responsible tourism practices.
That's wonderful to hear. If we all work together, we can make sure this beautiful marine ecosystem thrives for years to come.
Agreed. This has definitely been a great experience, not just for relaxing and enjoying the beach, but also learning more about this awe-inspiring marine sanctuary.
I'm glad I could share this with you. There's still so much to explore around here. Would you like to do some snorkeling and see some of the marine life up close?
Absolutely, let's go for it. Good morning, everyone. Are we all excited for today's flight?
Good morning, Captain A. Yes, we are ready and excited for our flight today. How about you?
I am also thrilled. I always enjoy flying with this team. So, how is the weather looking today?
The weather seems to be cooperating, Captain. We might encounter some turbulence here and there, but nothing too bad.
That sounds good. Let's hope for a smooth and safe flight. By the way, did you hear about the funny incident that happened on my last flight?
No, sir. What happened?
Well, we had a passenger who kept asking for a refill of his water bottle. We ended up filling it 10 times.
Laughs, that's hilarious. I hope we won't have someone like that on today's flight.
Fingers crossed. But, let's be prepared for anything. And speaking of preparation, do we have enough snacks and drinks for our passengers?
Yes, Captain. We have plenty of food and drinks on board. I made sure to check twice to avoid any shortage.
Great job, B. You really are the best team leader. Thank you for taking care of everything.
It's my pleasure, Captain. It's always a pleasure working with you and this team.
Alright, folks. Let's get ready to take off. Fasten your seatbelts and enjoy the ride.
Copy that, Captain A. All systems are ready for takeoff. Let's fly.
Hey there. Fancy meeting you here. What brings a hunter like you to these parts?
Hello. Well, as a chef, I'm always on the lookout for fresh ingredients. And what's fresher than game straight from the forest?
Good point. I actually just caught a couple of rabbits. Would you like to join me in cooking them up?
Absolutely. I happen to have my trusty skillet and some spices with me. Let's get started.
Great. I've never actually cooked with a chef before. Maybe you could teach me a thing or two.
Of course. The trick to cooking wild game is to keep it simple. Let the natural flavors shine through.
I see. So what do you suggest we do with these rabbits?
How about grilling them with some rosemary and garlic? Or maybe we could make a stew with some root vegetables.
Both of those ideas sound fantastic. Let's go with the stew. I'll gather some carrots and potatoes while you clean and prep the rabbits.
Perfect. I'll get started on the broth while you do that. It'll take a few hours for the flavors to really meld together.
Sounds like we have our work cut out for us. But I have a feeling it's going to be worth it.
I couldn't agree more. There's nothing quite like a hearty meal made from scratch. And we'll know exactly where our food came from.
Exactly. It's not often you get to enjoy a meal that you've caught and cooked yourself. This is going to be one for the books.
Cheers to that. Let's get cooking.
Hey, B. How are you feeling today?
I'm feeling great. The sun is shining, the beach looks amazing, and I'm excited to pose for some cool photos.
That's awesome. I have some great photo shoot ideas in mind, and I'm sure they'll look amazing on you.
I can't wait to see them. What's the first pose we'll do?
Let's start with some casual shots, walking along the beach, and enjoying the view. It'll be great for some natural shots.
Sounds perfect. Let's get started.
Great. Now let's try some fun shots. How about you jumping in the air or pretending to surf?
That sounds hilarious. I'm up for it.
Awesome. Those shots will definitely add some character to our shoot.
Hey, do you have any tips for me to make the photos look even better?
Absolutely. Keep your chin up, shoulders straight, and don't be afraid to show some emotion. Think happy thoughts.
Got it. Thanks for the tips.
We're just about done here. How about we finish up with some sunset shots? It's going to look amazing.
That sounds like the perfect ending to our photo shoot. Thanks, A.
You're welcome, B. Thanks for being such an awesome model, and I can't wait to show you the final result.
Sounds great. Let's do this again sometime.
It's nice to have a family dinner and not have to cook tonight.
Yes, it's great to relax and enjoy a delicious meal together.
Do you remember that couple we met at the park last week, the one with the cute little boy?
Oh yeah, I remember them. Wasn't their son about the same age as ours?
Yes, he was. I wonder if they're here too.
That would be funny if we ended up sitting next to them.
They were talking about trying out some new baby food recipes. Maybe we can get some tips from them.
Yeah, our little one can be such a picky eater sometimes.
I know what you mean. But hey, at least they're not throwing food on the floor like they used to.
Haha, yeah, that's true. Our son is getting better at using utensils too.
Speaking of utensils, have you tried the new forks and knives they have here? They feel so fancy.
Oh, I haven't noticed. Maybe I'll try to eat like a queen tonight then.
Sounds good to me. Let's enjoy our meal and catch up on each other's day.
Agreed. I'm just glad we can have some quality family time together.
Hey there, have you heard about the airport delays and cancellations?
Yeah, it's so frustrating. Our flight got postponed twice.
Oh no, that's terrible. Did they give you any reason for the delay?
They said there was bad weather conditions. I guess we can't do anything about it.
Yeah, it's always unpredictable. Did you manage to pass the time somehow?
Yeah, we grabbed some food and watched movies. It wasn't all that bad.
That's a good idea. I wish I had packed a book or something.
Well, now you know for next time. Did you have any delays on your previous flights?
Yeah, I once had a layover that lasted all day. It was the worst.
Wow, that sounds like a nightmare. Did you get any compensation or vouchers for that?
Actually, I did. The airline gave me a free night at a hotel and some meal vouchers.
That's not bad at all. I hope I get some compensation for this delay too.
Fingers crossed. Have you ever had a flight canceled altogether?
Yes, once when I was traveling to Tokyo. I had to stay at a hotel for 2 nights because all the flights were booked.
Oh no, that's frustrating. Did you eventually make it to your destination?
Yeah, but it was 2 days later than planned. At least I got to see more of Tokyo.
That's a good way to think about it. I hope our flight doesn't get canceled. I can't afford to stay in a hotel for 2 nights.
Haha, yeah, let's hope not. But if it does, I'll be sure to bring a deck of cards next time.
Hi. It's great to finally meet you in person. So, you're the famous client that everyone's been talking about.
Haha, famous? I wouldn't say that. But it's good to be here.
So let's dive right in. What kind of design are you looking for?
Well, I want something that's both functional and stylish. Something that really represents my brand.
Okay, I understand. Would you prefer something classic or modern?
I think a mixture of both would be perfect.
Great. Now, let's talk about color. What colors do you like best?
I'm a big fan of earthy tones, like greens and browns.
Got it. And what about typography? Do you prefer something bold or more subtle?
Bold, definitely. I want my brand to stand out.
I like your style. I think we can come up with something really unique and eye-catching.
That sounds perfect. I can't wait to see what you come up with.
So, now that we've talked about the design, would you like to order some coffee or maybe a pastry?
Yes, please. I've been eyeing that chocolate croissant on the menu since I got here.
Great choice. I'll go order for us. Can I get you anything to drink?
Just a regular coffee, please.
You got it. Be right back with our order.
Thanks, you're the best.
Here we go. Coffee for you and a latte for me. And, of course, the chocolate croissant.
Yum, this looks amazing. Thank you so much.
My pleasure. I find that snacks and caffeine always get those creative juices flowing.
Haha, you're so right. Let's get started on this design.
Hey, have you been to any good fast food places or convenience stores in Australia?
Yeah, I have. Have you tried Grilled? They have amazing burgers.
Oh, I haven't. Any other recommendations?
For convenience stores, you can't go wrong with 7-Eleven. They have everything you need, even sushi.
That's great to know. I heard about this place called Oporto too. Have you been there?
Oporto? Yeah, they're pretty popular for their Portuguese-style chicken burgers. You should definitely try it.
Sounds yummy. How's the pricing?
It's a bit on the expensive side, but worth it for the taste.
What about convenience stores? Any other options besides 7-Eleven?
Yeah, there's also Coles Express and Woolworths Metro. They have a good selection of snacks and drinks.
Got it. Do you know if there's any unique fast food places in Australia?
There's a place called Lord of the Fries that has vegetarian and vegan options for fries and burgers. Pretty interesting concept.
That does sound unique. Have you tried it?
Yeah, the fries were great. And they have all kinds of dips too, like truffle and cheese.
Yum, now I'm hungry. Thanks for the recommendations.
No problem, happy eating.
Hey there, B. Are you having fun in the park?
Yes, Dad. This game is so cool.
What game are you playing?
It's called Simon Says. You have to do what Simon says, or you lose.
That sounds like a lot of fun. How many rounds have you won so far?
Let me count. 7, I guess.
Wow, that's impressive. You're really good at this.
Thanks, Dad. I want to keep playing until I win all the rounds.
That's the spirit, buddy. Keep it up.
Hey, Dad, do you want to try playing too?
Huh. I'm not sure I can keep up with you, champ.
Come on, Dad, it'll be fun. I'll go easy on you.
All right, you twisted my arm. Let's do this.
Okay, Simon Says, jump up and down.
Jumping, this is kind of embarrassing, but also fun.
Haha, you're doing great. Okay, Simon Says, spin around.
Dizzy spinning, whoa, I think I need to take a break.
Come on, Dad, don't give up yet. One more round?
Okay, one more round. But after that, we're getting ice cream.
Yay! Okay, Simon Says, give me a high five.
High-fiving alright, I think I can handle this one.
Woohoo! Good job, Dad. You're a natural at this game.
Huh. Thanks, B. This was a lot of fun. Let's do it again sometime. Hello there. Are you enjoying your stay at our hotel?
Yes, it's been great so far.
That's wonderful to hear. I wanted to chat with you about our hotel services and see if there's anything else we can provide for you during your stay.
Sure, I'm open to hearing more.
Well, we have a few special packages for our guests, including a spa treatment package and a dining package. Would you be interested in learning more about those?
Actually, I've already booked the spa treatment package and I'm really excited for it.
Great to hear, I hope you enjoy it. What about our dining options? Have you tried any of our restaurants yet?
Yes, I had dinner at the Italian restaurant last night and it was delicious.
That's fantastic. We also have a fantastic rooftop bar that offers amazing views of the city. Would you be interested in checking it out?
Definitely, that sounds amazing.
Perfect, I'll make a reservation for you tonight. And just to make sure you're comfortable during your stay, is there anything else you need from us?
Actually, I was wondering if you have any recommendations for things to do in the area?
Absolutely. There's a great museum just a couple of blocks away, and if you're looking for some outdoor activities, I highly recommend going on a hike at the nearby state park.
Thank you so much for the suggestions, I really appreciate it.
No problem at all, it's our pleasure to ensure you have a wonderful stay with us. If you need anything else, don't hesitate to let us know. Enjoy the rest of your stay. Hi B, how's it going? Did you get the report from our vulnerability scanner?
Hey, I'm good. Yes, I did. There were quite a few findings this time. Have you had a chance to go through them?
Yeah, I have. Some of them are pretty serious. We need to prioritize and make sure we patch them ASAP.
Absolutely. But first, can we take a moment and appreciate the creativity of these hackers? I mean, how do they even think of these stuff?
Haha, yeah. It's like they're playing a game of find the weakest link with our system.
Speaking of games, did you know that one of the most common passwords used is password 123? I mean, do people even try anymore?
It's mind-boggling. It's like they're just asking to be hacked.
Okay, let's get serious again. Any updates on the patching process?
We've identified the most critical vulnerabilities and have started working on the patches. It might take a while, but we'll get there.
Great, thanks for the update. By the way, have you ever thought about trying out ethical hacking?
I have considered it. It sounds like it would be both challenging and rewarding.
Imagine being able to hack into a system but with the purpose of identifying and fixing vulnerabilities rather than causing harm. It's like being a cyber superhero.
Haha, I like the sound of that. We should form a league of cyber superheroes.
That's genius. We can wear capes with the code of conduct printed on the back.
I am totally on board with this. But for now, let's focus on patching those vulnerabilities and keeping our system safe. Hey there, B. What's up?
Nothing much, just a bit tired from work. How about you?
Same here. But I'm excited to talk about this family I know. They cooked dinner together.
That sounds nice. Who are they?
A married couple, A and their son B. They decided to cook dinner at home.
Oh, cool. What did they make?
From what they told me, it was fried chicken and steamed vegetables.
Yum. Did they enjoy cooking together?
Yes, they did. Especially their son, who wanted to help with everything.
Haha, sounds like a future chef in the making.
You never know. They even made a game out of who could flip the chicken better.
That sounds like a lot of fun. Did they enjoy eating the food they cooked together?
Oh yes, they said it was delicious. They were proud of themselves for making such a great meal.
That's lovely. It's always nice to cook and eat together as a family.
Definitely. It's not only fun, but you get to spend quality time together too.
Absolutely. I should do that more often with my family.
You should. Cooking is a great bonding activity.
I'll have to try that soon. Thanks for sharing, A.
No problem, B. Just glad to spread some positivity. Good morning, Professor B. Thank you for joining me today to discuss the course schedules for the upcoming semester.
Good morning, Dr. A. It's my pleasure. I've reviewed the current schedule and I must say, it looks quite packed.
Yes, it is. We're trying our best to cater to the demands of our students, while still maintaining the high standards of our school.
I completely understand, but in my experience, having too many courses in a semester can affect the quality of each course.
That's a valid point. I suggest we prioritize certain courses and reduce some of the less popular ones to balance things out.
Agreed, we should focus on the core subjects and offer the other courses on a rotation basis.
That's a great idea. We can also allocate more time for student feedback and evaluation to further improve our courses.
Absolutely. Speaking of feedback, have you received any suggestions from the students regarding the courses?
Yes, we've received a few. Some of them have requested more case studies and practical assignments, while others have expressed interest in specialized courses.
Interesting. We should definitely take those suggestions into consideration and see if we can incorporate them into our courses.
I couldn't agree more. Any other suggestions or concerns that you'd like to share, Professor B?
None so far. I'm confident that with our combined efforts, we can create a well-rounded and enriching academic experience for our students.
Fantastic. Thank you for your valuable input, Professor B. I look forward to working with you on this.
Likewise, Dr. A. Have a great day.
Hey, there. Are you ready for our underwater adventure today?
Absolutely. I'm so excited to capture some beautiful shots of the Great Barrier Reef.
Great to hear that. I hope you've got your gear on and your camera all set.
Yeah, I'm all strapped up and ready to go. How deep are we diving today?
We'll be going about 15 meters deep, so get prepared for some breathtaking sights.
Sounds perfect. So, do you have any tips for me so that I can get the best possible shots?
Sure. Always remember to use slow shutter speeds and adjust the ISO settings to the light conditions. And do keep an eye out for those vibrant coral reefs and colorful fish.
Nice. I'll keep that in mind. Do you have any favorite spots that you recommend we check out?
Absolutely. There's a stunning underwater garden full of sea anemones just a little way in. And look out for the reef sharks too, they're always around.
Wow, that sounds like a great spot. Thanks for the tip. Do you often see big marine animals like whales or dolphins?
Not so much here, but humpback whales do migrate by these waters sometimes. They're a sight to behold.
I would love to see them one day. So, what got you into scuba diving, anyway?
Well, I've always been fascinated by the ocean and its mysteries. And I wanted to share that passion with others, so I became a diving instructor.
That's very impressive. The ocean is a fascinating place with so much to explore.
Absolutely. And speaking of which, we should really get going so that we don't miss the best light of the day.
Sounds like a plan. Let's go dive and explore.
Hello there. How are you feeling today?
Not so great, to be honest. I've been experiencing some chest pain and shortness of breath.
I see. Let me take a look. Checks patient's vitals. It seems like your heart rate is a bit high. Have you been under any stress lately?
Yeah, work has been pretty hectic these days.
That could be a contributing factor. But you also mentioned shortness of breath. Have you been doing any cardio exercise lately?
No, not really.
Well, let's get you started on some breathing exercises and light cardio. And in the meantime, here's a prescription for some medication that should help with the chest pain.
Thanks, Doc. How long do you think it will take for me to feel better?
It varies from person to person, but I'm confident we can get you feeling better in no time. And remember, try to take some time for yourself and reduce stress whenever possible.
Will do. Thanks again, Doc.
No problem. Take care and stay healthy. Hi B. I see you're deep in thought. What are you studying?
Hi, Teacher A. I'm studying for my calculus exam next week. It's going to be a tough one.
Calculus can be tricky, but I know you'll do great. Have you tried using any study apps or flashcards?
Yeah, I've been using a few apps to practice. But sometimes I just need a break from staring at my phone.
I completely understand. Do you want some reading suggestions? I just finished this mystery novel about a detective who solves a crime in a library.
Oh, that sounds interesting. What's the title of the book and who's the author?
It's called The Body in the Library by Agatha Christie. She's a classic author who's written a lot of mystery novels.
Thanks, I'll definitely check it out. Have you read any good books lately?
Yes, I just read Where the Crawdads Sing by Delia Owens. It's a beautiful story about a young girl who grows up in the marshes of North Carolina.
Wow, that sounds like a great coming-of-age book. I'll add it to my reading list.
Definitely do. And if you need any help with your calculus, don't hesitate to come see me during office hours.
Thanks, Teacher A. You're always so helpful. I appreciate it.
Of course, anytime. Now, let's get back to studying. We've got this. Hello there, you seem to be musically inclined. Are you a musician?
Yes, I'm a musician. Nice to meet you. Are you a dancer?
Yes, I'm a dancer. How do you think we can blend dance and music perfectly?
Well, we could have a beat that's danceable, add some melody and rhythm. That way your movements can match the beat and you can feel freer to express yourself.
Oh wow, that's a great idea. And the sound can add a new dimension to the dance. I think that would be really cool.
Yes, exactly. And we could switch it up too. Maybe when the music is more calm and soothing, you could have some slow, elegant movements.
Ah, that's a beautiful idea. And when the music is fast, we could have some hip-hop moves.
Yes. That's the perfect balance, you and I working together to create something that is both beautiful and exciting.
Agreed. It will be a great performance, and we'll both have lots of fun creating it together.
Definitely. And who knows, maybe we'll inspire some other artists with our collaboration.
That would be awesome. Let's get started.
Excellent. I'm excited to see what we can create together.
Good morning, B. Are you ready for our training session today?
Yes, Coach. I've been looking forward to improving my skills.
Great to hear that. So, let's start with some warm-up exercises. First, let's do some stretching.
Sure thing. I always enjoy a good stretch before training.
Okay, now let's do some jumping jacks to get our heart rate up.
Laughing, this is going to be exhausting, but I'm ready for it.
Laughs too, don't worry, we'll take it step by step. Let's start with 10 jumping jacks and then gradually increase.
After doing 10 jumping jacks, oh man. I can already feel the burn.
Smirks, you're doing great. Now, let's move on to some cardio. We'll do some running sprints.
Excitedly, sounds good. I really need to improve my speed.
Encouragingly, let's do this. Ready, set, go.
Out of breath, phew, that was tough.
Looks at Sportsman B with a smile, you did well. Remember to work on your breathing and keep taking deep breaths.
Nodding, got it. So, what's next, coach?
Serious expression, let's work on your strength training. You've got to build those muscles.
Determinedly, I won't back down. What do you have in mind?
Chuckles, we'll start with some push-ups, then move on to some kettlebell swings.
Nervously, kettlebell swings? I've never done that before.
Reassuringly, don't worry. I'll guide you through it. Just remember, proper form is key.
Feeling a bit sore, wow, that was quite the workout.
Smiling, you did an amazing job. Just remember to cool down properly and stretch again.
Grinning, thanks, coach. I feel like I'm making progress.
Pat Sportsman B's back, keep up the good work. See you next session.
Smiling, can't wait.
Hi, B. This beach is such a great spot for brainstorming. I've got an idea for a novel and I'd like to get your thoughts on it.
Sounds like a plan. What's your idea?
Well, it's about a group of stranded tourists on a deserted island who are forced to work together to survive.
That's a classic plotline, but it still has potential. What's the twist?
The twist is that one of the stranded tourists is a famous actor who's been living a double life. His true identity is revealed as the story progresses.
Interesting. Do you have any other characters in mind?
Yes, there's a young couple who are on the brink of a breakup and being stranded tests their relationship. And there's also an elderly woman who becomes the moral compass of the group.
This all sounds great. So what are you thinking for the title?
Castaways and controversies?
That's a bit too serious. How about Survival of the Silliest?
Laughs, I love it. That's perfect.
Great, let's talk about your timeline for completing the novel.
I'm aiming for 6 months to have a first draft ready.
That sounds reasonable. Let's get to work then.
Absolutely. Sips on a frozen margarita, you know what, B? I think the beach is working its magic on my creativity.
Also sips on a drink, I hear ya, eh? Who says work can't be fun, right?
Hey, have you tried our latest handmade pastry? It's the talk of the town. It's a combination of dark chocolate and almond cream filling, topped with fresh raspberries. The crust is made of our signature flaky dough. Of course, you should. You'll definitely love it. I would say at least a dozen. These pastries are flying off the shelves. Yes, we've had a lot of requests for a pumpkin spice flavor. We're working on perfecting the recipe. We're thinking of keeping it as a seasonal flavor, but we might have a limited run before the season starts. Absolutely. And it's always good to keep things fresh and exciting. No, I haven't. Is it good? I'm sold. Let's make it our new featured coffee. It's always nice to offer something new and delicious. That's what keeps them coming back. Hi, how's your day going so far?
Not bad, thanks for asking. How can I help you today?
I'd like to go to Sydney, please. Any recommendations on where I can go?
Sure, there are plenty of places to see in Sydney. The Opera House and Harbour Bridge are a must-see.
Great, I've heard they're both beautiful. Have you been there before?
Yes, many times. They never get old. What brings you to Sydney?
I'm here for a vacation. I've always wanted to visit the city.
It's a great place to visit. You should also try some of the local cuisine while you're here. The seafood is fantastic.
That sounds delicious. What's your favorite dish?
I love barramundi, it's a type of fish native to Australia. Have you tried it?
Not yet, but I'll make sure to try it during my stay.
You won't regret it. Are you staying in the city center?
Yes, I found a hotel near the harbor. It has a great view of the Opera House and bridge.
That sounds like a great choice. You'll have a wonderful time here in Sydney.
Thank you, I'm very excited to explore the city.
It's my pleasure. Let's get you to your hotel so you can start your adventure.
Hey, have you checked the system performance today?
Yeah, I did. It seems to be working fine.
Really? That's great to hear. But I noticed some lag yesterday.
Oh, that's weird. Did you report it to support?
Not yet. I thought it was just temporary. But if it happens again, I'll definitely report it.
Yeah, you should. That's what support is there for. They can find out what's causing the issue.
True. Do you have any idea what might be causing the lag?
It could be a lot of things. Maybe there are too many people using the system at the same time, or there's a problem with the network.
Yeah, that's possible. But I hope it's not a problem with our system hardware.
Yeah, that would be bad. But our IT team is really good at maintaining the system.
That's true. They're always on top of things. But I'm still worried about the performance issues.
Don't worry too much. Just report it to support and they'll take care of it.
Okay, I will. Thanks.
You're welcome. And if you need any help, feel free to ask me.
Thanks, I appreciate it. I'll keep that in mind.
No problem. It's always good to help out a colleague.
Hi there, I'm the photographer for today's shoot. Are you the model, B?
Yes, that's me. Nice to meet you, A.
Nice to meet you too, B. So, what's the vision for today's shoot?
I was thinking we could do some fashion shots on the beach. Something with a bit of movement and natural lighting.
Great idea. I brought some props like a beach hat and sunglasses. Have you got any beachwear?
Yes, I brought a few outfits. I was thinking of starting with a white sundress.
Perfect choice. Let's head over to that rocky outcrop for some shots with the ocean in the background.
Sounds great. Do you have any specific poses in mind?
Just relax and have fun with it. Maybe twirl around a bit or tilt your head up towards the sky.
Okay, I'll give it my best shot.
Wow, these shots are turning out amazing. You look like a natural model.
Thank you. It's all thanks to your direction and talent behind the camera.
Speaking of talent, have you done any modeling before?
I've done a few shoots here and there, but nothing too serious.
Well, you definitely have what it takes. Have you ever considered pursuing it as a career?
Maybe, but I'm not sure if it's for me. I kind of stumbled on it by accident.
You never know, you could be the next big thing. But for now, let's finish up these shots and head to the ice cream stand.
Excellent idea. Strawberry swirl, here we come.
Hey B, I hear you're a natural language processing engineer. I could really use your expertise at the media company where I work.
Of course, what do you need help with?
We're trying to analyze news reports with data analytics, but we're having a hard time processing the language. It would be great if we could find a way to make the process more efficient.
Ah, I see. Well, there are plenty of natural language processing tools that can help with that. We could try using sentiment analysis to gauge the overall tone of the news articles.
That's a great idea. We could also use entity recognition to identify key topics within an article.
Exactly. And we could even use topic modeling to organize articles by their main focuses.
Wow, you really know your stuff. It sounds like incorporating natural language processing technology could revolutionize the way we analyze news reports.
Absolutely. And it'll make our jobs a lot easier too.
Speaking of which, I could use a drink after all this talk about work. Want to grab a drink with me after work?
Sounds like a plan. Let's celebrate our future successes with some happy hour specials.
Hi B, glad you could make it. I need your help with this piece I'm working on.
Sure thing, what do you need me to do?
I'm playing around with some acrylic paints, but I can't get the colors to blend properly. Mind giving me a hand with that?
Of course, let me grab some brushes and we can get to work.
Great, while we're at it, what do you think of the piece so far?
I really like the bold colors you've used, it's quite striking.
Thanks, I'm trying to capture the essence of chaos and energy.
It definitely has a lot of movement to it. Have you decided on a title yet?
Yes, I'm calling it Chaos in Motion. What do you think?
I think it's perfect, it really encapsulates the piece.
That's great to hear. By the way, have you been to any good art exhibits lately?
Actually, I went to a contemporary art exhibit last weekend. There was this one piece that was just a single potato on a pedestal.
Laughs, you're kidding, right?
Nope, that was the whole piece. It was definitely interesting.
I guess art really is subjective, huh?
Definitely. By the way, do you need any more paint or supplies while we're working on this?
No, I think we're good for now. Thanks for asking though.
No problem. So, what's next for you after this piece is finished?
I'm thinking of experimenting with some mixed media, maybe incorporating some found objects into my work.
That sounds exciting. Can't wait to see what you come up with.
Thanks, B. You're a great assistant to have around. Hey there. How's it going?
Good, good. Just busy trying to make sure our clients' financial information is secure.
Yeah, it's definitely an ongoing battle to keep everything safe.
Absolutely. What measures do you think we should be taking?
I think we need to be using high-level encryption to protect all of our data.
Agreed. And we should also implement strict password requirements for our users.
Definitely. But even with all those measures in place, there's always a chance for human error.
That's true. We need to make sure our employees are well trained on security best practices.
Exactly. We should also conduct regular security audits to make sure everything is up to date.
Good point. And we should also make sure our physical infrastructure is secure, too.
Yes, that's often overlooked. We need to monitor who has access to our servers and data centers.
Absolutely. And we should also have a plan in place in case of a security breach.
Yes, having a response plan is crucial. We can't afford to be caught off guard.
Agreed. It's better to be well prepared and not needed than the other way around.
Definitely. All right, let's get to work on making sure our clients' information stays safe. Good morning, welcome to our bakery shop. What can I get for you today?
Hi there. I'm in the mood for something sweet and refreshing. Do you have any recommendations?
Absolutely. Our custard buns are very popular, and we also have freshly made egg tarts. As for something refreshing, you might enjoy our mango juice or iced barley tea.
That sounds great. I'll take an egg tart and a cup of the mango juice, please.
Excellent choice. That'll be 28 yuan altogether. While I prepare your order, can I ask what kind of drinks you like to make?
Of course. I like to experiment with different flavors and textures. Lately, I've been into making fruit smoothies and bubble teas.
Oh, those are some of my favorites. What's your secret to making a perfect bubble tea?
I can't give away all my secrets, but I will tell you that using fresh ingredients and measuring everything precisely is key. And, of course, the bubbles have to be soft and chewy.
That sounds like a lot of work, but I'm sure it's worth it. Here's your egg tart and mango juice. Enjoy.
This egg tart is amazing. And the mango juice is so flavorful. You really know your stuff.
Thank you. I'm glad you like it. If you're interested, I could show you how to make one of our popular pastries next time you come in.
That would be fantastic. I would love to learn some new baking skills.
Sounds like a plan. Thanks for coming in today, and have a great afternoon.
You too. I'll be back soon for more delicious treats.
Hi there. Could you recommend me some cheese and main dishes?
Of course. We have a wide selection of cheeses. Are you looking for something particular?
Maybe something creamy and tangy? And for the main course, what do you suggest?
Our goat cheese is creamy and tangy, and it pairs well with our spinach and artichoke dip. As for the main course, our grilled salmon is very popular.
The goat cheese sounds great. How is it served?
We have a starter that features a goat cheese and fig crostini, where you can order it as a topping on a salad.
That sounds delicious. And the grilled salmon?
The salmon is served with roasted vegetables and a citrus salsa. It's a light and flavorful dish.
I'm sold. Could I also have a glass of red wine to go with my meal?
Of course. We have a nice selection of red wines. Would you like me to recommend one?
Yes, please. Something that pairs well with the goat cheese and salmon.
I would recommend our Pinot Noir. It's fruity and light and complements both dishes nicely.
Perfect. Thank you for your great recommendations.
My pleasure. Enjoy your meal.
Hey B, have you had a chance to look at the new software requirements for our latest medical device project?
Yup, I've taken a quick look. Seems like we're going to need a lot of computing power for this one.
Yeah, it's definitely pretty advanced. But I'm sure we can handle it. What kind of tools do you think we should use for the development?
Well, I think we should definitely use Kubernetes for container orchestration. That should help us scale the application quickly.
Good idea. And we could use Ansible for automation, right?
Absolutely. And if we use Jenkins for continuous integration, we can make sure that everything is running smoothly.
Yeah, we definitely need to have a good development process in place for this one. But what about testing?
I was thinking we could use Selenium for automated web testing. And for load testing, we could use JMeter.
Sounds like a solid plan. What about deployment?
We could use Helm for package management and deployment to the cluster. And for monitoring, we've got Prometheus and Grafana.
Awesome. You really know your stuff, B.
Thanks, A. I think we're going to make an awesome team for this project.
Absolutely. With our combined expertise, we'll be sure to get this project off the ground in no time.
Agreed. Let's get to work.
Hey, have you checked on the database issue we were having yesterday?
Yeah, I took a look at it earlier today. It looks like there might have been some corrupted data.
Really? How did that happen?
Well, it could have been a number of things. It could have been a hardware failure, or maybe something messed up during a backup.
That doesn't sound good. How do we fix it?
We'll need to look into it more, possibly restore from a backup. But first, let's try running a diagnosis to pinpoint the exact issue.
Got it. So where do we start?
We'll need to run some diagnostic tests to see if we can locate the problem.
Okay, I'm not super experienced with databases. Can you walk me through it?
Yeah, sure thing. First, we'll need to check for errors in the system logs.
Okay, let me take a look.
Next, we'll do a test to see if any tables are corrupted.
How do we do that?
We'll use a tool like DBCC Check Table to scan and check the table for any errors.
Okay. That makes sense.
Once we identify the problem, we can work on fixing it. It might involve restoring the database from a previous backup, or it might involve manually fixing the corrupted tables.
Wow, sounds like a lot of work.
Yeah, but that's the job, right? We're the data wizards.
Good morning, B. How are you feeling today?
Hi A. I'm feeling excited yet a little bit nervous about this photo shoot. What about you?
I'm doing well, thanks for asking. Don't worry about a thing, you're in great hands.
That's good to hear. By the way, I love your setup here. It's amazing how you turn this plain studio into something magical.
That's very kind of you to say, B. I always try to create an environment that suits my clients' personalities and visions. So, what kind of shots are you looking for?
I'm hoping for something unique and creative. Maybe we can experiment with some different poses and settings?
Absolutely. I have a few props here that we can use, and I'm always up for trying new things. Let's have some fun with this shoot.
Sounds great. Can we play some music to ease the mood?
Of course. I have some playlists ready for situations like these. What kind of music do you enjoy?
I'm a bit of a 90s kid. Can we play some classic tunes from that era?
You got it. Nothing like a little Backstreet Boys and Spice Girls to get us in the zone. Laughs?
Laughs, yes. That sounds perfect. Let's get started.
Alright, let me adjust the lighting and we'll begin. Just relax and have fun with it, you'll do great. Hey, do you have any idea how we can pay for this online purchase?
Sure thing. I usually use my credit card for online transactions.
Oh, I see. I don't have a credit card, though. Is there any other way?
Well, you can also use a debit card or PayPal.
I don't have PayPal either. How does that work?
It's like an online wallet where you can store money and use it to pay for things online.
That sounds convenient. But what if someone hacks into my PayPal account?
PayPal actually has security measures to prevent that from happening. Plus, they have a buyer protection policy, so you can get your money back if something goes wrong.
That's reassuring. Thanks for the info. But what about those e-wallets like Apple Pay or Google Wallet? Have you used those before?
Yeah, I have. They're also convenient because you can just link your credit or debit card to your phone and pay with it.
Wow, technology these days. I feel like a dinosaur.
Haha, don't worry about it. It's never too late to start using these convenient payment methods.
Alright, I think I'll try setting up a PayPal account then. Do you have any tips for me?
Just make sure to use a strong password and enable two-factor authentication. That should keep your account secure.
Thanks for the help. I owe you one.
No problem, happy to help out. Just make sure to pay me back next time we split a bill.
Good morning, class. How was your weekend?
Good morning, sir. It was great. I went camping with my family.
That sounds like a fun time. Did you see any wildlife?
Yes, we saw a few deer and a bear. But we made sure to stay at a safe distance.
That's very wise. Alright, let's get started on today's lesson. We will be discussing different types of literary devices.
Oh, that doesn't sound very exciting.
Don't worry, B. I'll make it fun. Have you ever heard of alliteration?
No, sir. What is it?
It's when words in a sentence start with the same sound. For example, Peter Piper picked a peck of pickled peppers.
Oh, I get it now. That's pretty cool.
See, learning can be fun. And who knows, maybe you'll use alliteration in your next essay.
Maybe I will. Thanks, sir.
You're welcome, B. Alright, let's dive into some more literary devices. Who's ready to learn? Hi there. What brings you to the park today?
Hi. I love taking walks here during my lunch break. Clears my mind after working in the lab all morning.
That sounds nice. I'm a chef actually, and I'm always looking for new inspiration for my dishes.
Oh, really? I'm a food researcher. Maybe we can bounce some ideas off each other.
I'd love that. I'm always trying to incorporate new ingredients into my dishes. Any suggestions?
Have you tried using jackfruit? It has a meat-like texture and can be a great substitute for pulled pork in sandwiches.
That sounds interesting. I've never used jackfruit before, but I'll definitely give it a try.
Another idea is to incorporate edible flowers into your dishes. They not only add a pop of color, but can also enhance the flavor of your dish.
Wow, I never thought about using flowers in my dishes. Do you have any recommendations?
Nasturtiums are great for salads and dishes that need a peppery flavor. And calendula petals are perfect for adding color to soups or roasted vegetables.
This is such great information. Thank you for sharing. By the way, do you have any tips for making the perfect omelette?
Yes. The key to a perfect omelette is to whisk the eggs thoroughly and cook them on low heat. And don't forget to add a touch of cream or milk to make them extra fluffy.
That's great to know. I'm definitely going to use those tips the next time I make an omelette. Thanks so much for chatting with me today.
It was my pleasure. I always love talking about food and sharing ideas. Have a great day.
Hi there. I'm excited for my flight today.
Hi, welcome to the check-in counter. Where are you headed to?
I'll be flying to Bangkok for a short vacation. How about you?
That sounds fun. As for me, I'm based here at the airport. I get to meet lots of travelers like you.
That's great. How long have you been working here?
I've been with this airline for almost 5 years now. I can say I really enjoy my job.
That's good to hear. You must have seen all kinds of passengers, huh?
Yes, definitely. Some are really interesting too. Like one time, a passenger brought a pet lizard on board.
Laughs, wow, that's quite unusual. I hope it didn't cause any commotion.
No, actually it was well behaved. It stayed in its cage the whole time.
Amused, only the in-flight entertainment was probably a bit different.
Laughs, I suppose so. Anyway, have you checked in your luggage already?
Yes, I have. I also checked in online to save some time.
Great. Here's your boarding pass then. Have a safe and enjoyable trip.
Thank you, B. You've been really helpful. I'll make sure to say hi to all the lizards I'll see in Bangkok.
Laughs, sure thing. Take care.
Hey, B. We need to design a new travel booking website. Any ideas?
Yes, A. I was thinking we could start by having a simple and user-friendly interface.
I couldn't agree more. We want our users to find their way around easily.
Exactly. And we also need to ensure that the website is visually appealing, so people stay engaged.
Absolutely. We don't want them leaving us for some other website.
Agreed. And in terms of usability, we must keep things accessible and easy to understand, especially for people who are not tech-savvy.
Yes, and we need to think about how our users can find the information they are looking for efficiently.
Yes, we want to make sure the information is organized in a logical way, so users don't get frustrated.
Right, and if they do run into any problems, we need to have a support system in place to answer their queries.
That's true. And what about incorporating user reviews and ratings so people can get an idea of what to expect?
I like that idea. It will also encourage more people to book with us, if they see that others have had a good experience.
Definitely. And we could also have a section for travel advice and tips to help our users make the best choices for their trip.
That's a great idea, B. And we must ensure that the website is dynamic and responsive, as more and more people prefer to book their travel plans on their phones.
Exactly. And we can't forget about making it secure, too. People need to feel safe when they're entering their personal information.
Right, and we must also keep loading times as low as possible, to prevent impatient users from leaving.
Exactly. So are we agreed on what we need to do to make this the ultimate travel booking website?
I think so, B. You always have great ideas.
Thanks, A. Let's get started.
Hi there, nice to meet you. I'm the software engineer working on this project.
Hi, glad to meet you too. I'm the blockchain engineer in charge.
So, let's talk about how we can develop a trusted blockchain application system.
Sure, have you worked with blockchain before?
Not extensively, but I have some knowledge about it.
Okay, well, first things first. We need to ensure that the system is secure and cannot be tampered with.
Agreed. And we also need to make sure it is easy to use for our customers.
Of course, user experience is important too. Have you considered implementing smart contracts?
Yes, I have. I think they could play a significant role in the system.
Great, and what about the consensus mechanism? How should we decide on that?
I was thinking of using proof of authority. What do you think?
That could work, but let's review other consensus mechanisms just to be sure.
Sure thing. We also need to have a clear and transparent system for data storage.
I agree. And we should consider using a distributed file system for decentralized storage.
Good idea. We also need to make sure the system can handle high volumes of transactions.
Yes, scalability is a crucial aspect. Have you researched Chardane?
I have, and I think it could work for our purposes.
Great, let's look into other solutions too. This is going to be a fun and challenging project.
Absolutely, it's exciting to be working on the forefront of technology.
Agreed, and it's going to be satisfying to create a reliable and practical application.
Definitely, I'm looking forward to working on this with you.
Likewise. Let's get started.
Hey, Captain. How's the sea treating you today?
Good day, Fisher. It's been a rather calm day so far. What brings you out for a spot of fishing?
Just looking to catch me a big one. I heard this spot was the best for it.
Yes, it certainly is. The waters here are teeming with all sorts of fish.
That's what I like to hear. Speaking of fish, have you heard the one about the fish who couldn't stop telling jokes?
No, I haven't. Pray tell.
Well, he was hooked on it.
Laughs, that's a good one, Fisher. I see you've got quite the sense of humor.
You betcha. Gotta keep things light when you're out here all day.
Absolutely. So, what's your plan for today? Catch and release or catch and keep?
I think I'll keep a couple for dinner tonight. How about you?
I'm more of a catch and release kind of guy. It feels good to throw them back and know they'll go on living.
Yeah, I can respect that. You know what they say, there's plenty of fish in the sea.
Very true. And speaking of sea, have you heard about the pirate who fell asleep at the wheel?
No, I haven't. What happened?
He woke up with a steering wheel in his pants.
Laughs, you're quite the joker, Captain.
I do my best. But let's get back to fishing. I've got a good feeling about today.
Me too. And who knows, maybe we'll catch something big enough to make the papers.
One can only dream. But for now, let's just enjoy the peace and quiet of the open sea.
Hey B, have you been thinking about how we should design the server architecture for our new game to handle high traffic?
Absolutely, A. I've been giving it some thought. We need to design a scalable infrastructure that can handle a sudden surge in traffic.
I agree, but what kind of components do you think we should use?
Well, we could use a load balancer to distribute the traffic evenly across different servers and implement autoscaling to add or remove servers dynamically based on traffic levels.
That sounds like a good idea. What about storage?
We can use distributed databases like Cassandra or MongoDB to ensure high availability and data redundancy.
And what about the deployment process? How can we make sure it's fast and efficient?
We can use a DevOps approach with continuous integration and delivery so that our code updates can be quickly tested and deployed in a timely manner.
Great point. B. Speaking of code, what programming language and framework do you suggest we use?
I recommend using a combination of Java and Spring Boot framework. It's powerful and has great community support.
Sounds like a solid plan, B. What if we encounter an issue in production? How can we quickly troubleshoot it?
We can implement proper logging and monitoring systems and use tools like Splunk to analyze logs and identify issues in real time.
That's smart. What other security measures should we take to ensure the safety of our players' data?
We can use encryption for sensitive data, implement secure network protocols like HTTPS, and utilize firewalls to protect against attacks.
All really useful suggestions, B. I think we're on the right track. Is there anything else we should consider to make sure our infrastructure is resilient?
We should also design for failure by implementing backup and disaster recovery measures and ensuring our servers are located in different geographies to avoid single points of failure.
Excellent point, B. Well, we've got a lot of work to do. Thanks for your insights. This was a great conversation.
Anytime, A. Let's get to work and create the best game infrastructure ever.
Good afternoon, Mr. B. How are you feeling today?
Hi, Officer A. Frankly, I've been better. But I'll survive.
I understand that you've been brought in for questioning regarding a robbery that took place last night. Can you tell me where you were at the time of the incident?
I was at home, catching up on some sleep. But if you want me to confess, I can say that I was out robbing banks all night long.
Laughs, that's not the answer I was looking for, Mr. B. We take robbery charges very seriously.
I know. I'm innocent, officer. But if you want me to help you catch the real culprit, just let me know. I'm always happy to assist the police.
Smirks, I'll keep that in mind, Mr. B. But first, could you describe what you were wearing last night?
Laughs, are you asking me out on a date, officer? I was wearing my pajamas, if you must know.
Laughs, you're quite the comedian, Mr. B. But we need to get serious now. We have evidence that puts you at the scene of the robbery.
What kind of evidence? Was it a clown nose on the security camera?
Laughs, no, it was your DNA that was found on the door handle of the getaway car.
Sarcastically, oh, great detective work. Like I wasn't borrowing my neighbor's car to go buy groceries.
Smiles, all right, Mr. B. You win this round. But don't get too comfortable yet. We'll be watching you.
Smiles, looking forward to it, officer. You have a nice day now.
Hey B, how was your weekend?
It was great, thanks for asking. I went hiking with some friends. How was yours?
It was good too. I went out to eat with my family. So, let's talk about the meeting with our boss. What do you think?
Sure. Our boss is always so busy, but he's great at delegating tasks. I think we can handle anything he throws our way.
Agreed. I'm glad we have you as his secretary. You always keep everything organized.
Laughs, thank you, but you're the one who always knows how to make him laugh during meetings. It helps to break the tension.
Smiling, I try my best. I know he can be a bit intimidating, so I always try to lighten the mood.
It definitely makes the meetings more enjoyable. By the way, have you heard about his recent hobby?
No, what's that?
He's taken up painting. I'm excited to see what he comes up with.
Laughing, that's interesting. I hope he doesn't start painting pictures of us in the office.
Jokes back, oh no, I don't want to be immortalized in paint forever. Let's hope he sticks to landscapes.
Both laugh, yeah, hopefully. In all seriousness, let's make sure we're well prepared for the meeting. I have a good feeling about it.
Sounds good. We make a great team, eh?
All right, B. Are you ready to catch some waves today?
Sure thing, Coach A. I'm excited to try this out.
That's great to hear. First things first, we need to get you equipped with a board and a wetsuit.
Sounds good. Which board would be best for me as a beginner?
I'd recommend a foam board, as it's more stable and easier to balance on. And here's a wetsuit that should fit you well.
This wetsuit feels snug. Is that normal?
Yes, it should fit like a second skin to keep you warm in the water. Now let's head out to the waves.
Wow, the waves are bigger than I expected. Do I just jump on the board when a wave comes?
Not quite, let me give you a few pointers first. You'll want to paddle out to where the waves are breaking, then turn your board around to face the shore when a wave is approaching.
All right, got it. Then do I stand up on the board?
Yes, as the wave starts to lift you up, pop up to a standing position on the board. Keep your knees bent and arms out for balance.
Whoa, this is harder than it looks. I keep falling off.
Don't worry, it takes practice to get the hang of it. Keep trying and you'll get there.
Okay, I'll keep trying. But I have to admit, falling off the board is pretty fun too.
That's the spirit. Surfing is all about enjoying the waves, whether you catch them or not.
Thanks for the encouragement, Coach A. I'll keep at it and hopefully catch a wave soon.
You're welcome, B. And don't forget, safety is always first. Keep an eye on the other surfers around you and never surf alone. Hey, have you noticed how Ted and Sally always seem to butt heads?
Yeah, I've noticed that too. What do you think is going on?
I think it's a communication problem. Ted always speaks his mind, but Sally doesn't seem to get his point of view.
Well, maybe Ted needs to learn how to communicate better. Or maybe Sally needs to be more open to different opinions.
Yeah, that's true. But it's not just them. There seems to be a lot of tension between other coworkers too.
Do you think we should do something about it?
Maybe we could organize a team-building exercise or a communication workshop. That way, everyone can learn to work better together.
That's a great idea. We could even make it fun, like a game or a challenge.
Exactly. Something interactive and engaging. I'm sure everyone would be on board.
And hey, it might even improve our office culture overall. Win-win.
Absolutely. It's always better to work in an environment where everyone gets along and communicates effectively.
Agreed. Let's set a time to talk to our boss and see if we can make this happen.
Sounds good to me. Let's do it. Hey there, B. How's it going with the cocktail preparations for tonight's dinner service?
Hey Chef A, everything's going great so far. I've been testing out some new flavor combinations and can't wait for you to try them out with your dishes.
Sounds fantastic. I was thinking of preparing a special duck dish. What cocktail would you suggest to go with it?
Something with a bit of spice would definitely complement the duck nicely. How about a spicy margarita with chili-infused tequila and grapefruit juice?
Oh, that sounds intriguing. And what about my seafood dish with citrus and herb marinade?
For that, I'd recommend a refreshing mojito with lime and mint.
Yum. I love a good mojito. So, have you tried any new techniques or ingredients lately?
Yes, I've been experimenting with sous vide infusions for some of the cocktails. It's really interesting how you can enhance certain flavors using this method.
That's really cool. I'd love to try that out sometime. Speaking of trying out things, have you ever made a cocktail using some of the components of a dish?
Actually, I have. I once made a cocktail using smoked bacon and maple syrup, which was inspired by a bacon-wrapped scallop dish.
Whoa, that sounds like a wild combination. Did it turn out well?
Surprisingly, it did. The smokiness of the bacon paired really nicely with the sweetness of the maple, and the overall effect was quite reminiscent of a savory sweet breakfast.
Ha ha ha, that's awesome. We should definitely try something like that with our dishes tonight.
Agreed, I'm looking forward to it. Let's make tonight's service one to remember.
Good morning, B. How are you today?
I'm doing well, thank you. How about you?
I'm doing good too. So, let's start the review process for your financial statements.
Sounds good to me. Although, I must confess, numbers are not really my thing.
No worries, that's what I'm here for. Just remember to bring your sense of humor along with your documents.
Laughs, alright, I'll try my best. Can you give me a quick overview of what we're looking for?
Sure. We want to ensure the accuracy and completeness of your financial information, so we'll be comparing your records to the documents you provided.
Okay, that makes sense. Do you mind if I ask some questions along the way?
Of course, ask away. That's how we learn.
Great, thanks. So, do you have any good jokes to make this process less boring?
Laughs, actually, I do. Why did the accountant cross the road?
Why?
To get to the other spreadsheet. Both laugh.
That's a good one. I think I'll use that at our next meeting.
Smiling, glad you liked it. Alright, let's get started. First up, your balance sheet.
Okay, let's do this.
After a few minutes, everything looks good here. Great job keeping your records in order.
Relieved, phew, thank you. And thanks for making this process less stressful.
That's what I'm here for. And besides, it's always good to have a laugh in the office, right?
Absolutely. I'm looking forward to telling that joke to my colleagues.
Smiling, I'm sure they'll love it. Alright, let's move on to your income statement. Hi B, do you like rice?
Of course, who doesn't love rice? It's a staple food in many countries.
Yeah, that's true. I love how versatile it is. You can have it as a main dish or just as a side.
Absolutely. I use rice for my sushi and also for my fried rice. It's so delicious.
Speaking of fried rice, have you ever tried jasmine rice? It's perfect for making that dish.
Oh really? I've only used basmati rice for mine. I'll have to give jasmine rice a try.
You definitely should. It has a fragrant aroma and it's super fluffy. Plus, it's healthier than white rice.
That's good to hear. I'm always trying to eat healthier. What about brown rice? I know it's supposed to be really good for you.
It is. It's a great source of fiber and essential minerals. But let's be honest, it doesn't taste as good as white rice.
Haha, I know what you mean. I always feel like I'm sacrificing taste for health when I eat brown rice.
Same here. That's why I like to mix my brown rice with white rice to compromise. Have you ever tried that?
No, I haven't. But that's a brilliant idea. I'm definitely going to try that next time.
Awesome. Let me know how it turns out. And speaking of rice, I'm getting hungry just talking about it. Let's go grab some lunch.
Sure, I know this great sushi place nearby. They have the best rice.
Hey B, have you heard of ISO 27001 physical security?
Oh yeah, I have. It's a set of standards for securing physical assets that could impact information security, right?
Yep, that's the one. I've been trying to learn more about it.
Well, lucky for you, I happen to be an expert in the field. What do you want to know?
Well, first of all, what are some examples of physical assets that could impact information security?
Let's see. Physical servers, data centers, and even paper documents that contain sensitive information are all potential targets for security breaches.
Got it. So what kind of security measures does ISO 27001 recommend for these assets?
There are a lot of different controls, like access controls, environmental controls, and monitoring and surveillance. It really depends on the specific asset and the risks associated with it.
That makes sense. Do you think physical security is becoming more important in the digital age?
Definitely. As more and more sensitive information gets stored electronically, it becomes even more crucial to protect the physical assets that support that data.
I've heard that humans can often be the weakest link in physical security. Do you agree?
Absolutely. That's why it's so important to have strong policies around things like access control and social engineering.
Speaking of social engineering, have you heard of any interesting physical security breaches lately?
Oh man, there have been some crazy ones. Like that guy who stole a bunch of hard drives from a data center by dressing up as a janitor and carrying them out in a mop bucket.
Laughs, that's pretty impressive, if a little unethical. So what can companies do to prevent those kinds of breaches?
Well, first of all, security awareness training is key. Everyone should know how to spot suspicious behavior and unauthorized access. And of course, having physical controls like security cameras and access badges can help.
Makes sense. Do you think there are any downsides to ISO 27001?
Well, it can definitely be time-consuming to implement and maintain. And some of the controls might not be practical for certain organizations.
Interesting. What about the benefits?
Oh, there are a lot of benefits. It can help improve your organization's overall security posture, reduce the risk of breaches and downtime, and even boost customer confidence.
Good to know. Thanks for all the info, B. You're a wealth of knowledge.
No problem, happy to help.
Hi, B. How are you doing today?
Hey there, hey. I'm doing great, thanks. How about you?
Not too bad. I've just spent the morning discussing business with a new client.
Oh, really? Who's the new client?
It's actually an interesting story. This client is a famous actor who wants to start his own production company.
Wow, that sounds exciting.
Yeah, definitely. It's not every day you get to work with a celebrity.
So, how did the meeting go?
It was good. We talked about the ins and outs of starting a new production company and discussed strategies for making it successful.
I bet that was a lot to cover in a meeting.
Definitely, but it was fun. We even had some time to chat about his latest movie.
Oh, cool. Did you get any inside scoop on upcoming projects?
Not exactly, but I did get a sneak peek at his latest film trailer. It looks amazing.
That's awesome. I can't wait to see it.
Yeah, me neither. So, what have you been up to today?
Not much. Just trying to stay on top of my workload.
I hear ya. It can be tough to balance everything.
Definitely. But hey, speaking of balancing things, have you tried out that new yoga studio that just opened up?
Actually, I have. It's really great. I love the instructors there.
That's good to hear. I've been meaning to try it out myself.
You should definitely give it a go. It's a great way to de-stress and get some exercise in at the same time.
Sounds like a plan. Let me know if you want to join me for a class sometime.
Sure thing. It's a date. Good morning, Mr. B. What can I do for you today?
Hi, I am here to discuss a legal matter. I need to file a lawsuit against my neighbor.
Oh, I see. Can you tell me more about the issue?
My neighbor's dog has been barking nonstop every night for the past few weeks, and I can't get any sleep.
That sounds frustrating. Have you tried talking to your neighbor about it?
Yes, but they have been unresponsive. I think legal action is my only option now.
All right, let's go over the details of the case. Do you have any evidence of the disturbance?
Yes, I have recordings of the dog barking and sleep logs showing how little sleep I have been getting.
Perfect. With those pieces of evidence, we can build a strong case against your neighbor. Just one more thing, have you considered mediation as an alternative to litigation?
Mediation? What's that?
It's when a neutral third party helps the parties resolve their dispute through communication and compromise. It can be a faster and cheaper option than going to court.
Huh, I never thought of that. Can we explore that option?
Of course. I'll look into a reputable mediator and schedule a meeting. You might be surprised how effective it can be.
Great, thank you so much for your help, Mr. A.
My pleasure, Mr. B. Let's work together to find the best solution for you. Hey B, how's it going? I heard you're a math whiz, so I figured you could help me out.
Sure thing, what do you need help with?
Well, I'm a software engineer at an insurance company, and we want to start using statistical methods to analyze insurance risk. Can you walk me through some of the basics?
Absolutely. The first thing you want to do is collect a lot of data on the different types of risks you insure.
That makes sense. But how do we know which data is relevant and which isn't?
Good question. We'll have to perform some hypothesis testing to figure out which factors have a significant impact on risk.
Hypothesis testing? Sounds intimidating.
It's not that bad, trust me. Essentially, it involves setting up a null hypothesis, then looking for evidence to either support or reject it.
Okay, got it. And once we've identified the key factors, what do we do next?
We can use regression analysis to create a mathematical model that predicts the likelihood of different levels of risk based on those factors.
Nice. That sounds really useful. But how do we determine the accuracy of the model?
We can use a variety of metrics, like the R-squared value or the mean squared error, to assess how well the model fits the data.
Interesting. And what kinds of variables should we include in the model?
It depends on the types of risks you're analyzing. Generally, though, you'll want to include variables like age, gender, location, and other relevant demographics.
Makes sense. And what if the model predicts a high level of risk for a certain customer?
Then you can offer them a higher premium to offset that risk, or deny coverage altogether if the risk is too great.
Got it. Thanks for the crash course in statistics, B. I think I have a much better grasp of how we can use these methods to analyze insurance risk. Hey there. Have you heard about the ISO 27001 access control list?
Oh yeah. I've read about it. It's a series of guidelines for data security, right?
Exactly. It's all about making sure only authorized people have access to sensitive information.
Sounds like a pretty big deal. But, let's be honest, the name is not very exciting.
Huh. I know what you mean. I can't imagine people getting too pumped up about access control.
Access denied doesn't really sound like a good time.
Nope. But, it is important to keep our data safe. So, what's your favorite thing about the ACL?
I like that it encourages businesses to be more organized and put together when it comes to managing their data.
That's a good point. It can be easy to get sloppy with data security if there are no clear guidelines in place.
Plus, it's a good reminder to people that even something as small as a password can make a big impact.
So true. Sometimes we forget how powerful and vulnerable our digital lives can be.
And, if we all follow the ACL guidelines, we can help protect ourselves and our businesses from hackers and other threats.
Yes. Let's do our best to keep our data safe and secure. And have a little fun doing it, of course.
Absolutely. Making sure our data is protected is important, but there's no harm in having a little fun with it too.
Hi there. I'm a travel photographer assigned to shoot beach photos here in Gold Coast. You must be the model assigned to me, right?
Yes, that's right. I can't wait to start.
Awesome. So, what's your name by the way?
It's Emily. And yours?
I'm Alex. Nice to meet you, Emily.
Nice to meet you too, Alex.
So, are you ready for the shoot?
Absolutely. I've been waiting for this moment for a long time.
That's great to hear. Let's start with some basic poses first. Can you stand over there and give me your biggest smile?
Like this?
Perfect. You're a natural in front of the camera.
Thanks, Alex. You're not so bad behind the camera either.
Haha, thanks for the compliment.
Hey, Alex. I heard you travel a lot for your job. What's the most exotic place you've ever been to?
That's a tough one. I guess it would have to be the Maldives. The beaches there were absolutely stunning.
Wow, I'd love to travel to the Maldives one day.
You definitely should. I can actually recommend a few great spots there for a photo shoot.
That would be amazing. Thanks, Alex.
No worries, happy to help. Alright, let's get back to the shoot. Can you turn your head to the right and look out to the ocean?
Like this?
Perfect again. You're really making my job easier.
Haha, thank you. You're not so bad yourself.
Okay, we're almost done here. Just a few more shots.
No problem, Alex. I'm happy to keep going.
That's great to hear. Alright, let's try one more dramatic shot. Can you kneel down and look up to the sky?
Like this?
Yes, that's it. You're a real pro at this, Emily.
Thanks, Alex. You're too kind.
Alright, that's a wrap for today. You did an amazing job, Emily. I can't wait to see the final shots.
Thanks so much, Alex. It was great working with you.
Same to you, Emily. Have a great rest of your day. Hey, have you heard about this new trend in ecotourism?
You mean like hiking and camping trips?
Exactly. It's all about experiencing nature while minimizing our impact on the environment.
That sounds awesome. I love being outdoors and exploring new places.
Same. And it's great that we can do it while supporting conservation efforts.
Absolutely. Have you ever volunteered with any conservation organizations?
Yeah, I've helped out with beach cleanups and planting trees.
Nice. I've been wanting to get involved in something like that.
You totally should. It's a great way to give back and make a difference.
Speaking of making a difference, have you heard about the rewilding movement?
No, what's that?
It's all about restoring natural habitats and reintroducing native species to areas where they've been wiped out.
Wow, that's really cool. It's so important to preserve biodiversity.
Exactly. And the best part is, it can create opportunities for ecotourism too.
Really? How so?
Well, imagine going on a safari to see lions and elephants in their natural habitat.
That would be incredible.
And by supporting these initiatives, we're helping to create sustainable income for local communities.
That's a win-win situation.
I couldn't agree more. It's exciting to see how we can make a positive impact on the environment while still having fun and exploring new places.
Good morning, sir. Welcome aboard. Have you completed the safety check before boarding?
Good morning, too. Yes, I have gone through the safety check. I'm ready to fly.
Great. Our first priority is safety. Is there anything you'd like to know about our safety procedures?
Not really, but how long have you been flying?
I've been a pilot for over 10 years now, and I've flown many different types of aircraft.
Wow. That's impressive. Have you ever experienced any turbulence during your flights?
Yes, indeed, turbulence is a common occurrence in flights, but we always ensure your safety.
That's good to know. Can I ask what to do in case of an emergency?
Sure. We will direct you through the intercom in case of an emergency. You can also refer to the safety card for instructions.
Okay, thank you. By the way, is there anything interesting or new about this flight I should know?
Actually, we will be flying over the Grand Canyon. So, sit back, relax, and enjoy the spectacular view.
Wow, I'm excited. Thank you, pilot, for the information.
My pleasure, sir. Do let me know if you need any assistance during the flight.
Sure will. Thanks for the reminder. I'm looking forward to the flight.
Great. We'll be taking off soon. Kindly fasten your seatbelt and enjoy the ride. Hi there, I'm an environmentalist and I love this park. It's a great example of how much we can do to improve our city's greenery.
Hi, nice to meet you. I agree, it's a beautiful park. But what specific suggestions do you have for improving our city's greenery?
Well, I think it would be great to have more tree-lined streets and green roofs on buildings.
Interesting ideas. We could start small by encouraging people to plant trees in their front yards, or by offering incentives to businesses that install green roofs.
Yes, exactly. And we could also look into adding more public green spaces, such as community gardens or mini parks, to give people a chance to connect with nature.
That's a great idea. I could see those kinds of spaces being especially helpful in more densely populated areas without a lot of access to greenery.
Exactly. And it's not just about aesthetics. Having more green space can help improve air quality, reduce noise pollution, and provide habitats for local wildlife.
Absolutely. Plus, creating more green spaces could also help encourage people to walk or bike instead of drive, which is good for the environment and for public health.
Yes, definitely. It's all connected. And I think if we work together, we can create a city that's not only beautiful, but also sustainable.
I couldn't agree more. It's great to see people passionate about building a better future for our city. Let's keep brainstorming and see what we can come up with.
Hello, how are you feeling today?
I'm feeling a bit under the weather, to be honest.
All right, let's start the examination. Could you please step onto the scale to check your weight?
Laughs, I hope I haven't gained too much weight since my last checkup.
Joins in the laughter, let's find out. Looks like your weight is within a healthy range.
Phew, that's a relief.
Now let's check your blood pressure. Have you been feeling stressed lately?
A little bit, with work and everything.
That's understandable. Your blood pressure is a bit high, but nothing to worry about. Just try to take it easy whenever you can.
Will do. Thanks for the advice.
All right, let's move on to checking your heart rate.
Jokes, please don't tell me I'm too old for this part.
Laughs, I don't think that's the case. Your heart rate is looking good, actually.
Great news. What's next on the agenda?
I just need to take a quick look inside your ears, nose, and throat.
Smiling, as long as you don't find anything too gross in there.
Laughs, don't worry, I've seen my fair share of weird things in my career. You're all clear in those areas.
Relieved, that's a relief. Thanks for your help, Doctor.
No problem. Just make sure to schedule your next checkup in 6 months to stay on top of your health.
Will do. Thanks again.
Hey, have you ever tried bulgogi before?
Bulgogi? I don't think so. What is it?
It's a Korean dish made with thin slices of marinated beef. It's the perfect combination of sweet, salty, and savory flavors.
Oh, that sounds delicious. How is it prepared?
The beef is marinated in a mixture of soy sauce, sugar, sesame oil, garlic, and other seasonings, and then grilled or pan-fried.
Wow, that sounds amazing. I'll have to try it sometime.
You definitely should. In fact, I have a great bulgogi recipe. Would you like me to share it with you?
Yes, please. I'd love to try making it at home.
Great. Just be prepared to spend some time slicing the beef thinly.
No problem, I have a sharp knife.
That's good. By the way, have you ever tried bulgogi tacos?
No, I haven't. That sounds like a fusion dish.
It is. The bulgogi meat is stuffed into a crispy tortilla with some spicy slaw and a drizzle of spicy mayo. It's like Korean and Mexican cuisine had a delicious love child.
Haha, that sounds amazing. I have to try it.
Yes. Do it. And let me know how it turns out.
I definitely will. Thanks for the suggestion.
No problem. Just doing my part to spread the love of deliciousness.
Haha, always appreciated.
Hey there, B. How's it going?
All good, eh? Just running some experiments with language models.
That's interesting. You being an NLP expert, I bet the models are performing great.
Yeah, mostly accurate, but there's always room for improvements in any ML model.
Absolutely. And, have you tried incorporating deep learning?
Yes, I did. The results were better at identifying complex patterns in texts.
That's great. Have you tried any interesting applications?
Yes, I did. I built a chatbot that can answer FAQs in natural language. It's quite amusing to see how people interact with it.
That sounds fun. Have you tested it on yourself?
Yes, I did. I asked some random questions, and it was quite accurate.
That's amazing. I bet you can build one for personal assistants too.
Yes, we're working on it. The language processing part is working well, but we also need to make it contextually aware.
Sounds like you have your work cut out for you. But I'm sure it'll be a great product.
Fingers crossed. It's been a great learning journey so far.
Yeah, I agree. And I'm sure there's a lot more to explore in the field of machine learning and natural language processing.
Absolutely. It's exciting to be a part of the journey.
Well, keep up the good work, B. Hope to hear more about your progress soon.
Thanks, A. Likewise.
Hey, B, how's the picnic going so far?
It's great, Dad. Thanks for bringing all this yummy food.
No problem, I wanted to make sure we had a good time.
Did you know that in Chinese, father is and daughter is?
Really? That's interesting. You're always teaching me new things.
Yeah, I'm glad I can be your Chinese tutor sometimes.
Speaking of Chinese, do you remember when we went to China and tried to speak the language?
Oh yeah, and we accidentally ordered chicken feet instead of chicken wings at that one restaurant.
Haha, that was a funny mistake. But we still ate them anyway, right?
Yup, we did. We're both pretty adventurous eaters.
That's for sure. By the way, have you been practicing your Chinese calligraphy lately?
I have actually. Do you want to see my latest piece?
Of course, let's take a look.
Shows the calligraphy, it says, which means good luck.
Wow, that's really impressive. I'm proud of you.
Thanks, Dad. I'm glad you're proud of me.
Always, sweetheart. You're the best daughter any father could ask for.
Ah, thanks, Dad. You're the best father any daughter could ask for too.
Smiles, I love you, B.
I love you too, Dad. Now let's go eat some more food.
Hi there, B. What did you discover today?
Well, A, I found some intriguing artifacts at the site we were studying. It looks like this culture valued art and beauty a great deal.
That's fascinating. It makes me wonder how they managed to achieve such high levels of artistic expression without modern tools or processes.
Yes, it's something we may never fully understand. But what I find even more interesting is the way their art reflects their religious beliefs and daily life.
Agreed. Speaking of religion, I noticed some interesting markings on the tombs we were exploring.
Ah yes, those were probably signs of a deity or symbol of their social status. It's always amazing how much we can learn about a civilization from their burial practices.
It really is. And did you see those carvings on the temples? They were exquisite.
Definitely. They had a deep appreciation for beauty and craftsmanship back then.
I have to say, though, it's not easy walking around these hills in the heat.
You're right, it's quite hot. But the view from up here is worth it, don't you think?
Absolutely. It's amazing to see this landscape from a higher vantage point. And it really puts into perspective how far back in history we are going.
Yes, it's humbling to think about how much has happened in this place before our time.
Well, I think that's enough for today. Want to grab a cold drink and discuss our findings some more?
Sounds like a plan, hey. Let's head back to camp and relax a bit.
Hi there. How are you today?
I'm doing well, thank you. How about you?
I'm doing great, thanks. I've got a few items to check out.
Great, let's get started. Do you have your store membership card with you?
Yes, I do. Here it is.
Okay, great. I'll scan that first. And what else do you have there?
Just some snacks and drinks for my movie night tonight.
Sounds like a good night in. Is there anything else you'd like to add to your purchase?
Let me think. Oh, I saw some cute socks on the way in. I think I'll grab a pair.
Perfect. With your membership card, you get a discount on socks today. Let me grab those for you.
Awesome, thanks.
All right, and that brings your total to $14.67. How would you like to pay?
I'll pay with my card, please.
All right, go ahead and insert your card into the chip reader. And approved. You're all set.
Thanks so much.
Thank you for shopping with us. Have a great movie night.
Hey there, how's it going? Are you enjoying your shopping experience today?
Yes, I am. Thanks. You seem to be in the zone. What's up?
Oh, nothing much. Just keeping an eye out for any potential mischief. It's all part of the job, you know?
I see. Well, I appreciate your hard work. It's reassuring to know that we have such diligent security personnel here.
Thanks. That means a lot. Have you come across any good deals yet today?
Actually, I have. There was a sale on makeup products that I just couldn't resist.
That's great. Hey, while we're on the topic of makeup, have you ever tried concealer?
I have, but I'm not exactly sure how to use it properly.
No worries, I can give you some tips. First, you want to choose a shade that matches your skin tone. Then, apply it in small dots under your eyes and blend it in with a sponge or your fingers.
I'll have to give that a try next time I'm doing my makeup. Thanks for the advice.
No problem. It's always fun to learn new things. Speaking of which, have you tried any new restaurants lately?
Yes, actually. There's a new place that just opened up that serves some amazing Korean barbecue.
Oh, I've heard about that place. I've been meaning to check it out. Maybe I'll see you there sometime.
Definitely. It's always fun to hang out with new people. Plus, we can geek out about all the latest beauty products that are out there.
Huh. Sounds like a deal. Well, I better get back to patrolling. It was great chatting with you.
Likewise. Thanks for all your help, and stay safe out there.
Hey B, have you heard about ISO 27001 security control?
Yes. I've been hearing a lot about it lately. What exactly is it?
It's an international standard that sets out the requirements for information security management systems.
Interesting. Do you think it's relevant to our company?
Absolutely. It helps organizations keep their information assets secure and manage risks effectively.
That does sound important. What are some of the key elements of ISO 27001?
Well, there are several, but some of the most important ones are risk assessment, security controls, and continual improvement.
That sounds like a lot to take in. Do you think it's difficult to implement?
It can be challenging, but it's definitely worth it in the end. Plus, there are plenty of resources available to help guide organizations through the process.
That's good to know. Have you ever worked on an ISO 27001 project before?
Yes, actually. It was a bit of a steep learning curve at first, but once we got into the swing of things, it was really interesting and rewarding.
What were some of the biggest challenges you faced?
I think one of the biggest challenges was getting all of the stakeholders on board and fully committed to the project. It's definitely a team effort.
That makes sense. Do you have any tips for keeping everyone motivated?
Communication is key. Keeping everyone informed and involved in the process is crucial. And it doesn't hurt to have a bit of fun along the way.
Agreed. Maybe we should come up with a quirky team name or something to keep things lighthearted.
Hey, I like the sound of that. Any ideas?
How about the ISO Superstars?
Love it. Let's do this thing. Hey B, how's it going?
Not too bad, hey. Just trying to come up with some ways to optimize our cloud application performance.
Yeah, that's always a tough one. What do you have in mind?
Well, I was thinking of using some caching and CDN solutions to speed things up.
Nice, those are always effective. Have you considered using a load balancer?
Yeah, definitely. We're already using one, but I think we can fine-tune it a bit more.
That's a good idea. What kind of metrics are you using to track performance?
Mostly response time and throughput, but I think we could also start looking at error rates and latency.
Yeah, I agree. Those are important factors to consider as well. Have you thought about implementing some autoscaling?
Absolutely. It's definitely something we should consider, especially during peak traffic times.
Great, that should help with performance and prevent any potential downtime. Have you looked into any monitoring tools to help with performance optimization?
Yeah, I've been checking out some options. Do you have any recommendations?
Well, I personally used New Relic and AppDynamics, and they've both been really helpful.
Thanks, I'll definitely take a look at those. Have you considered using any advanced analytics or machine learning to optimize performance?
Actually, yeah. I've been doing some research on that, and it seems like it could be really beneficial.
Interesting. What kind of machine learning models are you thinking of implementing?
I was looking into using reinforcement learning algorithms for load balancing and resource allocation.
Wow, that sounds pretty advanced. Are you sure we have the resources and expertise for that?
Yeah, it might be a bit of a stretch, but I think it's worth exploring. What do you think?
Yeah, let's give it a shot. It's always good to push ourselves to try new things and stay ahead of the game.
Absolutely. Hey, speaking of games, did you check out that new multiplayer game on the App Store?
Oh yeah, I've been playing it nonstop during my breaks. It's addicting.
Haha, I know, right? We should get a game going sometime. But back to work, how about we schedule a follow-up meeting to touch base on our progress with optimizing performance?
Sounds like a plan. Hey, thanks for the chat and ideas. Talk to you soon.
Hi there. How's it going? I'm in charge of logistics for this supermarket.
Hey, great to meet you. I'm responsible for purchasing the stock. So, how can I help you?
Well, I'm just wondering if you have any suggestions for an efficient distribution plan for our products.
Sure, we can work together on this. We might want to consider implementing a just-in-time inventory system to reduce wastage.
That's a good idea. Fewer products would go to waste that way. But what about the lead time for deliveries from suppliers?
We could try and negotiate shorter lead times with suppliers or even find closer ones to make deliveries faster.
That makes sense. I can see how this would help us reduce transportation costs, too.
Definitely. And while we're at it, we could also review the delivery schedules and adjust them if needed.
That's a great point. It would be a lot easier for us to coordinate the deliveries if we can work on the same schedules.
Exactly. And we could also consider implementing a barcoding system to improve accuracy in our inventory tracking.
That's a fantastic idea. It would help us track everything from the stock we have to how much we've sold.
And we can use that data to make better decisions in the future, which will surely help our bottom line.
I completely agree. I can see how working together will help us better streamline our entire supply chain.
Absolutely. I'm confident we can come up with a plan that works well for both of us and for the supermarket.
Hi there, I hear you're the software engineer we have on board?
That's me. And you're the database admin, right?
Yes, that's correct. So we've been given the task of designing a secure database system for our healthcare company.
Ah, I see. That sounds like a pretty important task.
Definitely. We want to ensure that all the patient records are stored safely and in compliance with regulations.
Right. So what kind of security measures are we talking about?
Well, we'll definitely need to implement encryption, access controls, and backups in case of a system failure or attack.
Agreed. What kind of encryption method are you thinking of using?
I was thinking of going with AES 256 encryption. It's a pretty strong algorithm and meets HIPAA requirements.
Sounds good to me. And access controls?
We'll need to create individual user accounts and set permissions based on their roles and responsibilities.
Got it. And for backups, are we planning on using a cloud-based system or something on-premise?
I think on-premise backups would be best, just to ensure that we have full control over the data.
Makes sense. What about disaster recovery?
We'll need to test our backup and recovery procedures regularly to make sure we can get back up and running quickly in the event of a disaster.
That's a good point. And what about network security?
We'll need to make sure that the system is behind a firewall and that any remote access is properly secured with encryption.
Right. And we'll need to keep the software up to date with the latest security patches too.
Absolutely. It's a never-ending process, but it's important to stay on top of it.
I agree. Do we have a timeline for when we need to have this up and running?
We're looking at about 6 months, but we want to make sure we take the time to get it right.
Definitely. It's better to take the extra time to ensure the security of the data.
Yes, exactly. I think we're on the same page with this project.
Agreed. It sounds like a challenging but rewarding project to work on.
Definitely. And it's great to have a team of professionals who are all committed to creating a secure and compliant database system.
Absolutely. I'm looking forward to working with you on this project.
Hi B, have you ever tried sushi before?
Yeah, I have. It's one of my favorite foods.
Really? What kind of sushi do you like the most?
I'm a big fan of salmon sushi and California rolls. What about you?
I love tuna sushi and eel rolls. They're so tasty.
Agreed. Sushi is one of those foods that always hits the spot.
Definitely. And the presentation is always so pretty too.
Yes, the sushi chefs are true artists with how they arrange everything.
Have you ever tried making sushi at home?
I actually have. It's not as difficult as I thought it would be.
That's impressive. I'm too afraid I'll mess it up and waste all the ingredients.
You should give it a try someday. It's a fun activity to do with friends or family.
That sounds like a great idea. I'll make sure to invite you over for a homemade sushi party.
I can't wait. We can even have some sake to go along with it.
Sounds perfect. Let's make it happen soon. Hi, I'm A. I'm excited to finally try rock climbing.
Hi A, I'm B, your climbing coach. Let's get started, shall we?
Sure thing. Wow, the view from up here is amazing. Is that the ocean?
Yes, we're climbing by the beach. Makes it more interesting, right?
Absolutely. But I have to admit, I'm a bit nervous.
Don't worry, I got your back. We'll start with some basic climbs to warm up.
Okay, that sounds good. What's the first step?
First, we need to secure your harness and helmet. Safety first.
Got it. How tight should the harness be?
Not too tight, not too loose. You don't want to cut off circulation or slip out.
Understood. I'm ready now. Let's climb.
Great attitude. Remember to use your legs more than your arms. It's all about balance and technique.
Okay, I think I'm getting the hang of it. How high up are we now?
About halfway. You're doing great, just a little more to go.
Woohoo. I made it to the top. Can we do it again?
That's the spirit. Of course we can. This time, let's challenge ourselves a bit more.
Bring it on. I never thought I'd enjoy rock climbing this much.
That's what I love to hear. Climbing can be addictive in a good way. Let's keep going and have some fun.
Good morning, B. How's business today?
Hi there, A. It's been great so far. How about you?
Can't complain. Everyone loves a good hot dog, especially when it's hot outside.
Yeah, that's true. Speaking of hot weather, I think your customers might appreciate something cold to go along with their hot dogs.
I couldn't agree more. Why don't we collaborate and offer some of your delicious ice cream to our customers?
That's a great idea. I have a new flavor I've been working on, pineapple and coconut. It's perfect for the summer.
Sounds refreshing. And maybe we could even put it on top of our hot dogs for an extra twist.
I like your creativity, A. Speaking of creativity, have you tried any new exciting toppings for your hot dogs lately?
Actually, I have. We now have a spicy mango salsa to go with our classic chili dogs. It's been a hit with my customers.
Spicy mango salsa? That's definitely a unique choice. I'll have to try that myself.
You should. And in exchange, I'll try your new pineapple and coconut ice cream. It'll be a win-win for both of us.
Deal. And who knows, maybe our collaboration will turn into something bigger in the future.
I love your enthusiasm, B. Our street-side food businesses are just the beginning. One day, we may even have a chain of restaurants together.
The possibilities are endless, A. Let's keep working hard and see where it takes us.
Hey B, how's it going? Have you ever worked on a real-time interaction website before?
Hey A, I'm good. Yeah, I have experience in building interactive websites. What's up?
I'm working on a new project and we need to build a website that allows for real-time interaction between users. Do you have any ideas on how we can achieve that?
Definitely. We could use WebSockets to establish a WebSocket connection between the users and the server. This allows for real-time data transfer between the connected clients.
Interesting. Do you think WebSockets would be the best option for our project?
It would depend on the requirements of the project. If we need low latency and high throughput, then WebSockets would be a great choice.
Makes sense. How about the front end? What technology do you suggest we use for building the interface?
For the front end, we could use React or Angular. These frameworks provide a good structure for building user interfaces that can interact with the server in real time.
I've heard about React, but don't have much experience with it. Do you think it would be hard to learn?
Not really. There are tons of resources available online that can help you get started with React. Plus, it's a popular framework used by many companies, so learning it would be beneficial in the long run.
Good point. How about the server side? What do we need to consider when building the backend for the real-time interaction?
We need to make sure that the server is scalable enough to handle a large number of concurrent connections. Also, we need to implement proper security measures to prevent any unwanted access to the server.
Got it. It seems like we have a lot of work ahead of us. Do you think we can meet the deadline for this project?
With proper planning and execution, I'm sure we can get it done on time.
That's good to hear. I'm excited to work on this project with you.
Me too, A. Let's make sure to communicate well and collaborate effectively to achieve the best results.
Agreed. Thanks for your help, B.
No problem, A. Let's make this project a success.
Wow, this is the perfect spot to hunt for some game. Do you think we'll find any deer?
I sure hope so. I can't wait to turn them into a delicious meal.
Speaking of meals, what's your favorite wild game to cook?
Definitely venison. It's so lean and tender.
I see you're already envisioning the perfect sauce to go with it.
You bet. A nice red wine reduction works wonders with venison.
Looks like I'll have to bring a bottle along next time.
And I'll bring my secret spice blend.
Deal. But let's catch something first.
Agreed. Hey, how about we split up and see who can catch the most?
You're on. Loser has to clean the dishes.
Ha! You're on.
Well, looks like you caught more game than me. Time to wash the dishes.
Don't worry, I'll cook up something amazing with these. You won't even care about washing dishes.
Huh. As long as it's as good as venison with red wine sauce, I'll be happy.
Oh, it will be better. Trust me.
I always trust your cooking skills. Let's head back to camp and get started. Hi B. So glad to see you here. Thanks for agreeing to meet me to discuss how to optimize our company's database system.
No problem, A. It's always a pleasure to help out our team in any way I can.
So what do you think we can do to make our system more efficient?
Well, for starters, we can try to reduce the size of our database by eliminating any unnecessary data.
That's a good idea. How can we identify those unnecessary data?
We can start by checking the data created more than 3 years ago. Most likely, those are no longer useful.
Agreed. What other suggestions do you have?
We can also try to improve the indexing of our tables. This will make it easier and faster to search for specific data.
Right. We should also check for any redundant data and consolidate them.
Correct. We should make sure that there are no duplicate data in our tables.
This conversation is getting my brain working. Do you have any other thoughts on how we can optimize our database system?
Yup. We could try partitioning our tables, which can improve query performance.
Great idea. Have you ever tried that before?
Yes, I have. It worked wonders for our previous project. I'm confident it will work here too.
You're a genius. I'm so glad I have you in our team. Do you have anything else to add?
Just one more thing. We should regularly maintain our database to ensure its smooth operation.
Excellent point, B. I'm glad we had this discussion. Let's get to work on this optimization project together.
Sounds like a plan A. Let's make our database system run like a well-oiled machine.
Hi there, how can I assist you today?
I'm interested in investing in real estate, particularly in Melbourne.
That's great to hear. May I know what kind of property are you looking for?
I'm looking for a commercial property that I can lease out to tenants.
Sure thing. Have you considered which area in Melbourne you would like to invest in?
Not yet. Can you recommend any good locations?
Absolutely. How about the Central Business District, South Bank or Docklands?
Those areas sound promising. What are the average rental rates there?
It varies depending on the location and size of the property, but generally the rental rates in those areas are quite high.
I see. How about the demand for commercial spaces in those areas?
Those areas are very popular with businesses, so there is definitely a high demand for commercial spaces.
That sounds great, but what about the market trends? Is it a good time to invest in commercial properties in Melbourne?
The market trends are looking positive, which makes it a good time to invest. However, we recommend that you also consult with a financial advisor before making any major investment decisions.
That's a great point. Do you have any recommended financial advisors we could consult with?
Yes, we work with several reputable advisors that we could recommend.
That's fantastic to hear. Thanks for all the helpful information.
No problem at all. It's always a pleasure to assist our clients with their investment goals. Good morning, Mr. B. How are you feeling today?
Oh, hello, nurse. I've been better, but I cannot complain.
That's good to hear. I'm here to check your vitals and make sure everything is okay.
Sure thing. Go ahead, poke and prod like usual.
Laughs, well, I'll try to be gentle. So, have you been keeping up with your exercises?
Yes, I have. It's tough, but I know it's necessary.
Yes, it is. It's important to stay active, especially now that you're recovering.
Speaking of recovery, when can I go back to eating my favorite foods?
Smiling, I know how much you love your pizza. Soon enough, Mr. B, soon enough.
Laughs, thank you, nurse. You always manage to make this place a little less miserable.
That's so sweet of you to say. It's all part of the job, though.
You do your job well, that's for sure. So, have you heard the latest joke going around the hospital?
Curious, no, I haven't. Do tell.
Why couldn't the bicycle stand up by itself? Because it was too tired.
Laughs, that's a good one. You never fail to brighten my day, Mr. B.
Smiling, I try my best. So, do you have any favorite jokes?
Let me think. How about this one? What did the grape say when it got stepped on? Nothing, it just let out a little whine.
Laughs, I like that one. You definitely have a talent for telling jokes.
Thanks, I'll keep them coming. Now, let me finish up checking your vitals, and then you can take a nap.
Okay, sounds like a plan. Thanks for being such a great nurse, Nurse A.
Smiling, it's my pleasure, Mr. B. Rest up. Hi there. How's it going?
Hey, pretty good. Just finishing up some pottery.
That's great. I can't wait to see what you've made.
Thanks. Speaking of which, I was thinking that your desserts could use some custom serving dishes.
That's an amazing idea. I'm always looking for ways to make the presentation of my desserts better.
Absolutely. We could create some beautiful and unique plates that will perfectly accompany your treats.
I'm more than happy to collaborate with you. What kind of design do you have in mind?
I was thinking of incorporating some natural elements such as leaves, flowers, and vines.
I love that. It perfectly captures the essence of our cafe.
Great. Let's get started on a few prototypes and see which ones work best with your desserts.
Sounds like a plan. I'll bring some samples of my latest creations tomorrow and we can test them out.
Perfect. I can't wait to see what you've come up with.
And I'm excited to see what kind of pottery you've created. I bet it's going to be amazing.
Thanks, I'm really proud of it. It will be so much fun working together and creating something special for our customers.
Good morning. What a beautiful day it is to be working in the hills.
Yes, it is. The fresh air, greenery, and chirping birds make it even better.
Absolutely. So, what do we have to fix today?
It's a tractor that needs some engine work. I suspect either a fuel or air supply issue.
All right, let me take a look. Opens the hood. I see the problem. It's a clogged fuel filter.
Great catch. Let's replace it quickly and get this tractor back to work.
Replacing the filter. So, how long have you been doing this job?
It's been my profession for around a decade now. I love it. It provides me with the opportunity to work on different machines and fix something new every time.
That's amazing. What do you enjoy the most about your work?
The satisfaction of fixing a complicated issue and getting the machine back on track is priceless. Also, the gratitude that farmers show towards us for saving their livelihood is heartwarming.
Indeed. And, do you have any hobbies outside of work?
Yes, I like gardening and exploring new places. How about you?
I enjoy playing football and watching movies. By the way, have you seen any good movies lately?
Yes, I watched a sci-fi movie last night. It was intriguing and surprisingly realistic.
Oh, which one was it?
It's called Tenet. Have you watched it?
Not yet, but I've heard good things about it. Thanks for the recommendation.
Anytime. Starts the engine all right. Let's test this tractor now.
Sure thing. Watching the engine, it's running smoothly. You're a pro, my friend.
Laughs thanks. It's just another day at work.
Well, I'm glad that I got to work with you today. It was a pleasure.
Indeed. Let's hope that all our future repairs are as easy as this one.
Laughs fingers crossed. Hi there. Nice to meet you. I've heard we'll be working together to manage our company's employee data.
Yes, that's correct. I'm excited to collaborate with you on this project.
Great. So, to start off, what kind of database are you using to store the data?
Currently, we're using a MySQL database. It's been working well for us, but we're open to suggestions if you have any other recommendations.
Well, I've had some great experience with PostgreSQL. It's a similar database, but with some additional features that might be useful for managing large amounts of data.
That sounds interesting. I'll definitely look into it. So, how do you think we should go about managing the security of the data?
We'll definitely need to implement some strong password policies and have proper access controls to limit who has access to what data. We also need to ensure that our backups are up to date and secure.
Those are all great points. We should also keep in mind that as our company grows and hires more employees, the amount of data we need to manage will only continue to increase.
Absolutely. That's why we should consider implementing automated tools to assist with managing the data. This will help us save time and minimize errors.
Agreed. Do you have any suggestions for tools we could use?
For example, we could use a tool like DB Visualizer to help us visualize and manage the data. It has a lot of great features that would make the management process much easier.
That's a great idea. I'll check it out. Thanks for your help.
No problem. Let's work together and make sure we manage this data properly to ensure the smooth running of our company. Good afternoon, sir. How may I assist you today?
Hi there. I just won a big prize at the casino. I need to collect my winnings.
Congratulations, sir. That's great news. May I see your identification, please?
Sure, here you go.
Thank you. Let me just check with our finance department. Can you please fill out this form?
No problem.
All right, sir. Everything looks fine. You have won a staggering amount. How would you like to receive your winnings?
I'd like to get it in cash, please.
Sure thing. Just give me a moment to process the payment.
Wow, this is my lucky day.
Yes, it is. How about celebrating your big win tonight at one of our fancy restaurants or bars?
Sounds like a great idea. Do you have any recommendations?
We have a lovely rooftop lounge with breathtaking views of the city, or our Italian restaurant has a fantastic wine selection.
I think I'll go for the rooftop lounge. Can you make a reservation for me, please?
Of course. How many guests will be joining you?
Just me, thank you.
All right, sir. Your reservation is confirmed. Enjoy your winnings and have a great evening.
Thank you very much. You've been very helpful.
Hi B. How are you doing?
Hey. I'm doing great. How about you?
I'm good too. Have you tried bibimbap before?
Yeah. It's one of my favorite Korean dishes.
Same here. I love how colorful and flavorful it is.
Absolutely. And the mix of veggies, rice, and egg is really satisfying.
And the best part is that it's healthy too.
Yeah, definitely. I feel good about eating it.
Have you tried any different variations of bibimbap?
Not really. How about you?
Actually, I recently tried a seafood bibimbap with shrimp and squid. It was delicious.
Oh wow, that sounds interesting. I've only had the traditional one with beef.
You should definitely give it a try next time.
Will do. What about bibimbap sauce? Do you like it spicy or mild?
I like it spicy. How about you?
Same here. The spicier, the better.
Haha, I agree. It adds an extra kick to the dish.
Definitely. Have you ever made bibimbap at home?
I actually haven't, but I would love to try it sometime.
It's not too difficult. You just need to prep all the ingredients beforehand and mix them together.
That sounds doable. I'll have to give it a go.
Let me know how it turns out.
Will do. Thanks for chatting with me about bibimbap, B.
Anytime, hey. It's always fun talking about food.
Hi there. Are you excited about shooting here in the Hollywood Hills today?
Yes, I'm really excited. This location is amazing. It's like being in a movie.
I know, right? It's one of my favorite spots to shoot. So, did you bring a lot of outfits to change into for our shoot today?
Yes, I brought quite a few. I'm hoping we can get some different looks and moods.
That's perfect. We'll have plenty of time to play around with different outfits and settings. By the way, have you ever been in a photo shoot before?
Yes, I have, but mostly for commercial ads. This is my first time doing a fashion photo shoot like this.
Well, you're a natural in front of the camera. Don't worry, I'll guide you through the process and help you get comfortable.
Thank you, I appreciate it. You're making me feel less nervous.
No problem at all. We're here to have fun and create beautiful images that capture your personality and style.
Speaking of personality, do you have any tips on how to pose and convey different emotions in the photos?
Definitely. We'll start with some simple and natural poses and gradually move towards more dynamic and creative ones. As for emotions, think of something or someone that makes you happy, confident, or even a little mischievous.
Got it. I'll do my best to channel those emotions and showcase different sides of me in the photos.
That's great to hear. Now let's explore the area and find some interesting spots to shoot in. The sun is shining, the breeze is blowing, and we're ready to make some magic.
Let's do it. I'm excited to see the final result and share it with my followers on Instagram.
Same here. This is going to be a fun and memorable photo shoot. Let's get started. Hi there. I'm a vegetarian chef. What brings you to this vegan restaurant today?
Hey, I'm a juice mixologist and wanted to try some of the unique flavors this place has to offer. I've heard great things about their smoothies.
That's awesome. I'm glad you decided to try some of our food. What's your favorite type of juice to mix?
That's tough. I love experimenting with different combinations, but I think I definitely lean towards the fruity and sweet side. What about you? What's your specialty?
My specialty is definitely creating delicious meatless meals that even carnivores would love. I believe that food should not only be healthy but also tasty.
I couldn't agree more. We should work together to create some amazing drinks and dishes that complement each other.
Great idea. How about a refreshing strawberry and mint smoothie with a spicy vegan black bean burger?
That sounds amazing. The sweet and spicy combo is always a winner. Maybe we could add some coconut milk to balance out the heat.
Yes, that's a great idea. And we could add some avocado slices to the burger to give it a creamy texture.
Yum. I can't wait to try it. Have you ever experimented with using juice in your cooking?
Definitely. I love using fresh juice as a natural flavoring in sauces, dressings, and marinades. It adds a subtle sweetness and tanginess to dishes.
That's so cool. I'm going to have to try that. Do you have any favorite juice and food pairings?
My go-to pairing is a fresh citrus juice like lemon or lime with a light salad or grilled vegetables. It brightens up the dish and enhances the flavors.
I'll definitely have to try that out. Thanks for sharing. It's been great chatting with you, and I'm excited to see what culinary creations we can come up with together.
Hey there, do you believe we can improve the efficiency and accuracy of insurance claim processing with machine learning?
Absolutely. Machine learning algorithms can make predictions based on data and patterns, which can be used to automate the process and reduce human error.
That's great. Can you give me some examples of how we can apply machine learning in insurance claims?
Sure. We can use machine learning to analyze patterns in customer data to predict the likelihood of a claim being fraudulent, saving time and money in the investigation process.
Interesting. And what about automating the claims processing itself?
Yes, we can create a machine learning model that can classify claims based on their category, severity, or other features, and automatically approve or reject them with little to no human intervention.
But how do we ensure that the model is accurate and doesn't reject any valid claims?
One way is to constantly monitor and fine-tune the model using additional data and feedback from human reviewers. We can also add a layer of explanation mechanisms to improve transparency and interpretability.
Got it. What's the biggest challenge of implementing machine learning in insurance claims?
One challenge is the potential bias in the data used to train the model, which can lead to unfair or discriminatory decisions. It's important to carefully curate the data and test the model on different subgroups to minimize bias.
That's a good point. What about the cost and resource requirements of building and maintaining the machine learning system?
It can be costly and resource-intensive, especially in terms of data storage and computing power. But the long-term benefits, such as faster claim processing, increased customer satisfaction, and lower fraud rates, outweigh the initial investment.
I see. So, what's the next step for us? Should we start drafting a proposal?
Yes, we can start by identifying the specific use cases and requirements of our insurance company, and then research and evaluate different machine learning algorithms and models.
Sounds like a plan. Thank you for your insights. It's been a pleasure talking to you.
Likewise, good luck with your proposal.
Good evening, B. Are you ready for a busy night serving delicious Spanish seafood dishes?
Absolutely. And I heard you're the expert chef in the kitchen tonight, eh? What dish do you recommend the most?
Well, I highly recommend our freshest catch of the day, the grilled octopus. It's seasoned with smoked paprika and drizzled with olive oil.
Sounds amazing. How about the paella? Is it the traditional way of cooking it?
Most definitely. We use the traditional Valencian recipe of seafood paella with saffron, green beans, and artichokes.
Wow, I'm getting hungry just thinking about it. How about the drinks? Do you have any recommendations for the perfect pairing with our seafood dishes?
Of course. Our sommelier recommends a glass of Albarino white wine or a refreshing glass of sangria.
Great suggestions. And what dessert would you recommend to finish off a perfect Spanish seafood meal?
Our homemade churros with chocolate dipping sauce are the perfect sweet ending to your meal.
Yum, I'll definitely have to try those. Thanks for your expert recommendations, eh? It's going to be a fantastic night with great food and drinks.
My pleasure, B. Let's make this a night to remember for our diners. Hey B, have you heard about ISO 27001 privacy?
Yeah, I know a little bit about it. Why do you ask?
I've been considering getting certified in it. Do you think it would be worth it?
Absolutely. It's becoming increasingly important in the IT field. Better to be ahead of the game than struggling to catch up later.
That's a good point. Have you ever worked with it before?
Yes, I actually helped my previous company become ISO 27001 compliant.
That's awesome. What are some of the biggest challenges you faced?
Definitely convincing management to allocate the necessary resources and time. It's a big undertaking.
I can imagine. Would you be able to give me some tips on how to approach it?
Sure. First, it's important to understand and plan for the scope of the project. Then, get buy-in and support from management. From there, it's easier to implement and maintain the standard.
Thanks for the advice. Do you think it's necessary to have a dedicated team for it?
It depends on the size of the organization, but it definitely helps to have a team dedicated to the task. It ensures that everything is being taken care of properly.
I see. So, how long do you think it would take for a company to become certified?
It really varies, but it's usually around 6 to 12 months for initial certification.
Wow, that's a long time. But I guess it's worth it for the added security measures.
Definitely. It not only helps protect valuable company information, but also gives customers peace of mind.
That's a great point. Thanks for all your insights, B. I'll definitely keep them in mind as I move forward with this.
No problem, hey. I'm always happy to help out a fellow IT professional.
Hey B, how's it going?
Hey, it's good to see you. Things have been busy as usual.
Yeah, I can imagine. I heard we've got a big project coming up where we need to use machine learning to predict customer churn rates.
Bingo, you're right. It's a huge project, which is why we need to make sure we're both on the same page regarding our approach.
Absolutely, so where should we start?
First, we need to identify the factors that are most likely to result in customer churn. This could include things like service disruptions, billing errors, or even just customer complaints.
Got it. Next, we can use those factors as inputs to our machine learning algorithm, right?
Exactly. We'll use historical data about customer churn and customer interactions, combined with external data sources, to train our algorithm to identify patterns and make predictions.
Okay, I'm following you so far. But how will we know if our model is accurate?
We'll use a variety of metrics, like precision, recall, and accuracy, to evaluate our model's performance. And we may need to refine our model over time as we gather more data and encounter new challenges.
That sounds like a lot of work, but I'm up for the challenge. What tools and languages are we going to use for this project?
We'll use Python and some popular machine learning frameworks, like scikit-learn, TensorFlow, and Keras.
Awesome. I've used Python before, but I'm not too familiar with machine learning. Do you think we'll be able to handle this project successfully?
Definitely. We'll both need to keep up with the latest trends and techniques in the field, but I'm confident we can do this. And who knows, we might even make some breakthroughs along the way.
That's the spirit. Let's get started then, shall we?
You bet. I'm excited to see what we can achieve together.
Hi there, nice to meet you. I'm the real estate developer you've been speaking with over the phone.
Hi, good to finally meet you in person. I've been interested in investing in real estate in Melbourne for a while now.
Great, we have some amazing investment opportunities in the pipeline. Would you like to hear about them?
Absolutely. What kind of projects are you currently working on?
Right now, we're focused on developing luxury apartment buildings in prime locations around the city.
Sounds interesting. What sets your projects apart from others?
Our projects are designed with a keen eye for detail and luxury. We use only the finest materials and finishes, ensuring that our properties stand out in a crowded market.
That's impressive. What kind of return on investment can I expect?
Our projections indicate a steady increase in property value and rental income over the years. We anticipate an average return of 7 to 10% per annum.
Wow, that's great. How soon can I expect to see a return on my investment?
Our projects typically have a construction timeline of 2 to 3 years. Once completed, you can expect a healthy return on your investment within 5 to 7 years.
That's reasonable. Can you tell me more about the specific locations you're exploring?
We're currently looking at locations in the CBD, South Yarra, and Street Kilda. All of these areas are popular with professionals and offer excellent amenities.
I see. What kind of investment amount are you looking for?
Our minimum investment amount is $500,000. This ensures that we attract serious investors who are committed to our projects.
That sounds reasonable. What kind of ongoing support can I expect as an investor?
We provide regular updates on the progress of the development, and our team is always available to answer any questions or concerns you may have.
That's reassuring. How long have you been in the real estate development business?
Our team has over 20 years of combined experience in the industry. We've developed a range of commercial and residential projects across Australia and abroad.
Impressive credentials. Can you provide some references or testimonials from past investors?
Absolutely. We have a range of satisfied investors who would be happy to share their experiences with you.
Great. I'm definitely interested in learning more. What's the next step?
Let's schedule a follow-up meeting to discuss the specific investment opportunities in more detail. How does next week work for you? Hi, I'm excited to be working with you on our company's new risk assessment model. I'm a data scientist, and I'm curious to hear your ideas as a machine learning engineer.
Thanks, glad to be here too. So, how do we start?
I think we should begin with understanding the data we're working with. What sources are available?
Good point. We have historical credit data, employment history, and customer demographics, among others.
That's a good start. Have you decided which algorithm to use for our machine learning model?
I think we should try a decision tree model. It's simple, intuitive, and effective in predicting outcomes.
That's a good choice. We also need to ensure that our data is unbiased and doesn't contain any social, gender, or racial biases.
Agreed. We should also ensure that the model is transparent so that our customers can see how it works and understand the factors that influence their credit score.
Absolutely. What about the model's accuracy? We should aim for at least 80% accuracy rate.
I agree. We can fine-tune the model by increasing the training data set and testing data set and checking for overfitting.
Good idea. Let's also ensure that the model is scalable and can handle large volumes of data.
Yes, that's important. We need a model that can keep up with the company's growth and the increasing complexity of data.
This was a great discussion. I'm looking forward to working together to create a successful risk assessment model.
Same here. I think this model will be an invaluable addition to our company's offerings.
Hey B, I was wondering if you could help me out with something.
Of course, what can I help you with?
Well, I've been hearing a lot about big data and how it can help improve sales in our retail company.
Yes, big data can definitely be a game changer when it comes to maximizing sales.
That's exactly what I thought. Do you have any suggestions on how we can incorporate it into our business strategy?
Well, the first step would be to analyze the data we currently have on customer behavior and purchase history.
That makes sense. What kind of tools do we need for that?
We would need a database management system that can handle large amounts of data and tools for data visualization and analysis.
Sounds like a lot of work, but I'm up for the challenge.
Great. Another idea is to leverage social media data to understand customer sentiment and preferences.
Yes, I've heard about that too. Do you think it's worth the investment?
Absolutely, social media platforms generate a wealth of information that can be invaluable for enhancing our understanding of customer needs.
Wow, I never realized the potential of big data before.
It's definitely a game changer. For example, we can use predictive modeling to forecast sales trends and optimize our inventory management.
That's amazing. Do you think our competitors are already using big data to their advantage?
It's possible, but not everyone has fully embraced it yet. We still have an opportunity to gain an edge in the market.
That's a relief. It's good to know we're not behind the curve.
Absolutely. With the right approach and tools, we can leverage big data to drive sales growth and improve our bottom line.
I'm excited to get started, B. Thanks for all your help and expertise.
No problem, A. Happy to help. Let's make big data work for us.
Hey B, have you ever thought about how we could improve our manufacturing process with robot technology?
Of course, A. The possibilities are endless. What were you thinking?
I was thinking about implementing some autonomous robots to help optimize our assembly line. What do you think?
That's a great idea. But we need to make sure they can communicate with each other and be programmed to identify and handle different components accurately.
Got it. I think we can make them communicate wirelessly and program them to work on specific tasks. Do you think that's doable?
Definitely. We just need to make sure that the robots are equipped with advanced sensors and machine learning algorithms to learn as they work.
Sounds complicated, but we can do it. How about integrating some machine vision technology to monitor the assembly line?
That's a fantastic idea, A. With machine vision, robots can identify defects in real time and alert us for any quality control issues. It can dramatically improve our efficiency.
Yes, and we can significantly reduce waste and costs, too. I'm also thinking about installing some collaborative robots or cobots to assist our workers in the manufacturing process.
Cobots can make life easier for our workers, and it's safer for them, too. We can program them to work alongside humans without interfering with their workflow.
Exactly. Cobots could be programmed to lift and place heavy components, freeing up time for our workers to focus on other tasks. It could also reduce fatigue and stress levels.
That's a great point, A. I think our workers would appreciate the extra help. We could also monitor the performance of the robots and collect data to improve their functionalities over time.
Yeah, with the data, we can identify areas of improvement and adjust the robot's programming to address them. It's like a continuous improvement cycle.
Absolutely, A. I think we should schedule a meeting with our boss to discuss our ideas further.
Good idea, B. Let's do it. Good evening, sir. What can I get you to drink with your meal tonight?
Hey there, I would suggest our house specialty, the red wine. It pairs well with our steak.
Great suggestion. Our steak is perfectly cooked tonight.
I'm glad to hear that. How's the pasta dish tonight?
Our chef really outdid himself tonight. The sauce is so rich and creamy.
That sounds delicious. I might have to try it myself.
You should definitely try it, and with a glass of white wine. It'll enhance the flavors.
Speaking of wine, have you tried the new rose we got?
I have, and it's quite lovely. It has a subtle hint of raspberry.
It's definitely a hit with our guests. I'm glad we decided to add it to our menu.
Me too. It's always nice to have something new and exciting to offer our patrons.
Absolutely. It keeps things interesting and makes our job more fun.
I couldn't agree more. But at the end of the day, it's all about the food and wine. And we definitely deliver on that.
Definitely. Cheers to that.
Hi there, I'm a data scientist. Nice to meet you.
Hi. I'm an AI engineer. Pleasure to meet you too.
So, we're both here to discuss how we can use AI to improve HR management. Any ideas?
Definitely. We can use AI to screen resumes and identify the best candidates for the job.
That's a good start. But how about using AI to manage employee performance?
Great idea. We can use AI to measure employee productivity and engagement through data analysis.
Yes, and we can also use chatbots to improve communication between HR and employees.
And what about using AI to predict employee turnover rates?
Yes, that's definitely possible. We can use machine learning algorithms to analyze employee behavior and predict potential resignations.
Wow, the possibilities are endless with AI.
Indeed. But we also need to make sure we're ethical and transparent with how we use AI in the workplace.
Absolutely. We need to be mindful of bias and ensure that our AI systems are fair and just.
And let's not forget about the importance of human connections in the workplace. We need to balance technology with face-to-face interactions.
Yes, that's very important. Technology should enhance, not replace, human interactions.
Exactly. We need to find the right balance between technology and humanity to create a great workplace.
Well said. I'm excited to see what we can do with AI in the HR field.
Good morning. How may I assist you today?
Hi there. The room I stayed in last night needs some cleaning.
Absolutely. We can arrange housekeeping to come by at a time that's convenient for you. What works for you?
I have a meeting at 10 a.m., so sometime before then would be great.
No problem. I'll put in the request and they will be there within the hour.
Thanks a lot. By the way, I really enjoyed the breakfast this morning. What's in the omelet?
Oh, I'm glad to hear that. We use fresh spinach, tomatoes, onions, and cheddar cheese.
Yum. I might have to get that again tomorrow. So, how long have you been working here?
I've been here for about a year now. It's a great place to work and the guests are always interesting.
That's awesome to hear. Do you have any recommendations for things to do around here?
There's a great park about 5 minutes away that has some beautiful trails for hiking or jogging. And if you're interested in shopping, there are some great boutiques and independent shops in the downtown area.
Sounds like there's plenty to explore. Thanks for the tips.
No problem, always happy to help. Did you need anything else taken care of during your stay?
Actually, yes. I accidentally left my toothbrush at home. Do you have any extra ones available?
Of course we do. We have some complimentary dental kits available for guests at the front desk. I'll grab one for you.
Thank you so much. You've been really helpful.
It's my pleasure. Let me know if there's anything else I can do for you. Enjoy your day. Good evening, sir. Welcome to our restaurant. Would you like to go for buffet or a la carte tonight?
Hello. I think I'll go for the buffet. Can you tell me what's available?
Absolutely, sir. Tonight we have a variety of soups, salads, main dishes, and desserts. Is there anything in particular that you're interested in?
Can you tell me more about the main dishes?
Of course. We have roasted chicken, grilled fish, lamb chops, and vegetarian lasagna. Would you like me to bring some samples for you to taste?
That sounds great. Thank you. Wow, everything is delicious. I think I'll have some more of this roasted chicken.
I'm glad to hear that, sir. Would you like me to bring some more chicken for you?
Yes, please. Thank you so much. By the way, I love the decor in this restaurant. What inspired it?
Thank you for noticing, sir. The owner is passionate about travel, so the decor is inspired by different places around the world.
That's so cool. What's your favorite item on the menu?
Personally, I love the grilled fish. It's very flavorful and it's a healthy option.
I'll have to try that next time. By the way, do you have any recommendations for dessert?
I highly recommend our chocolate lava cake. It's the perfect balance of rich and sweet.
Okay, I'll give that a try. Thanks for your help.
You're welcome, sir. Enjoy your meal. Hello there, B. Welcome to our design studio. How may I assist you today?
Hi, A. I'm actually interested in designing my living room. Do you think you can help me out?
Of course. And don't worry, you're in good hands. As a designer, I have a keen eye for detail.
Great. I'm actually going for a minimalist look but with a pop of color. What do you think?
That sounds interesting. How about we use neutral colors for the major pieces of furniture and add pops of color through accent pieces like pillows and paintings?
That sounds perfect. I trust your eye for design.
Thank you, B. Let's get to work then. Do you have any specific color palette in mind?
I was thinking of using blues and greens for the accent pieces. What do you suggest?
Great choice. Why not pair those colors with warm tones like beige and gray? They'll complement each other really well.
That's a brilliant idea, A. I'm so excited to see the finished product.
Me too, B. If you have any questions or concerns, feel free to let me know. We'll make sure to create a living room that speaks to your personality.
Thank you, A. I'm so glad I stumbled upon your design studio.
It was a pleasure working with you, B. I can't wait to see you again once the project is done.
Same here, A. Let's make our vision a reality together.
Hey, have you ever tried ceviche before?
Oh, yeah. I love it. The tangy flavors are just amazing.
Yes, the lime juice and chili peppers give it that unique taste. Do you prefer it with fish or shrimp?
I actually like both. It's hard to decide since they both taste so good in ceviche.
I agree. I think it's a perfect summer dish, especially when served chilled.
Absolutely. It's so refreshing and perfect for a hot day.
Have you ever tried adding any extra ingredients to your ceviche?
I once tried adding diced mango to it. It gave a nice sweetness and complemented the spicy flavors well.
That sounds delicious. I'll have to try that next time I make it.
You definitely should, it's worth it.
Have you ever had ceviche made with octopus?
Yes, I have tried it. It's definitely more chewy than the fish or shrimp, but it's still good. How about you?
I have not tried it yet, but I'm open to giving it a shot. Who knows, maybe I'll end up liking it.
You never know until you try it, right?
Exactly. That's what makes trying new foods so exciting.
I couldn't agree more. Well, if you're ever in the mood for some ceviche, let me know. I know a great place we can go to.
Sounds great. Let's plan for it soon. Hello B, welcome to our restaurant. I'm excited to have you here to learn how to make authentic Thai red braised pork and side dishes.
Thank you, A. I'm eager to learn some new cooking techniques and experience the flavors of Thai cuisine.
Great. So, let's get started. First, we'll need to gather all of the necessary ingredients. Do you know where we can find some of the unique spices and herbs used in Thai cooking?
I'm not quite sure. I normally cook Chinese dishes.
No problem at all. We can take a quick trip to the local market and I'll show you where to find everything we need.
That sounds like fun and an opportunity to try some new ingredients.
Absolutely. Now, let's talk about the recipe. It's important to use the right cooking techniques to achieve the perfect texture and flavor.
I agree. What are some of the traditional cooking techniques used in Thai cuisine?
One of the most common techniques is stir-frying with high heat to lock in the flavors and retain the crisp texture of the ingredients. We'll also need to do a lot of slow cooking for the braised pork, so it's tender and juicy.
I'm already getting hungry just thinking about it.
Speaking of hunger, let's take a quick break and have some Thai iced tea. It's a refreshing drink that will tide us over until we start cooking.
That sounds like a great idea. Cheers to learning new cooking skills and experiencing delicious Thai cuisine.
Cheers indeed. Okay, let's finish our tea and get back to work. I can't wait for you to try the finished product.
Me too, A. Thanks for taking the time to teach me how to make this amazing dish.
Hey there, how's it going?
It's going well, thank you. How about you?
Not bad. I wanted to touch base with you about our business strategy.
Sure thing. What's on your mind?
Well, I was thinking we could try something new and innovative for our next project.
That sounds interesting. What did you have in mind?
I was thinking about incorporating some virtual reality technology into our product.
Oh wow, that sounds pretty cutting edge. Do you have any specific ideas on how we could use it?
Yeah, I was thinking we could create a virtual showroom for our customers to explore our products in an immersive way.
That's definitely a unique approach. Have you looked into the costs and logistics of implementing this?
I have, and I think it's feasible. Of course, we'll need to do some more research and planning before we jump into it.
Sounds like a good plan. Do you have anyone in mind to head up this project?
Actually, I was thinking you might be a good fit for this. You've shown an interest in technology before, and I think you have a good eye for design.
That's great to hear. Thank you for thinking of me. I'm definitely up for the challenge.
Fantastic. Let's touch base again next week to brainstorm some more ideas for this project.
Sounds good to me. Thanks for involving me in this exciting opportunity.
Hi there. I'm really excited to try some rock climbing today.
Hi. Great to hear that. We'll be doing some beachside climbing today. Have you done this before?
Yes, I have. But I'm looking forward to learning more techniques.
Sounds good. Have you warmed up already?
Yes, I've done some stretching and jogging.
Good job. Let's start with a simple route first. Use your arms and legs efficiently, and don't forget to use your feet.
Okay, got it. Wow, this is fun.
Climbing can be very addicting. How's the view up there?
It's amazing. I can see the entire beach from here.
Great. Now try to go down in a controlled manner. It's important to stay safe.
All right, no problem. Got it.
Good job. Shall we try a more challenging route now?
Yes, let's do it. I'm ready for the challenge.
Awesome. Keep that enthusiasm going. Remember, proper technique is key.
No sweat. I am confident now that I have an excellent coach.
Haha, you flatter me. We'll wrap it up now, but keep practicing these techniques and you'll improve in no time.
Thank you very much for the training, coach. I feel like I've learned a lot today.
You're welcome, A. Enjoy the rest of your day.
Good morning, B. How are you today?
I'm doing well, thank you. How about you?
I'm all right. I'm actually here to discuss adjusting the medication regimen for one of my patients.
Sure thing. What can you tell me about the patient's current treatment plan?
She's been taking a certain medication for a few months now, but recently has been experiencing some side effects. I think we need to make some changes.
Okay, let's take a look at her chart. Have you considered switching to a different medication?
Yes, I was thinking about that. Do you have any recommendations?
Well, there are a few options we could consider. Have you tried any non-pharmacological interventions?
Yes, we've discussed some lifestyle changes with the patient, but I think she will still need to take medication.
All right, in that case, perhaps we could try a medication from a different class.
Sounds like a good idea. What do you think about starting with a lower dose to minimize the risk of side effects?
Yes, that could be a good approach. And we can monitor the patient closely to see how she responds.
Great. Thank you so much for your input, B. This has been really helpful.
Of course, anytime. Let me know if you have any other questions or concerns.
Definitely. Thanks again, B. Have a good day.
You too, A. Take care.
Hello, B. What are we doing today?
Hi, Mom. I thought we could bake some cookies.
That sounds like a great idea. Do you have a recipe in mind?
Yeah, I found a recipe online for chocolate chip cookies.
Yum. Let's get started then. Do we have all the ingredients we need?
I believe so. We have flour, sugar, eggs, butter, and chocolate chips.
Perfect. Let's start measuring everything out.
Mom, can I crack the eggs this time?
Of course, but be careful not to get any shell in the bowl.
Don't worry, I've watched you do it a million times.
Laughs, very true. So, what's next?
We need to cream the butter and sugar together.
Right, that'll take some elbow grease. Do you want to do it or should I?
I can do it. Okay, I think it's sufficiently creamed. Should we add in the rest of the ingredients now?
Yes, just make sure to mix everything together well.
I think they're ready now. Can we try one?
Yes, let's let them cool off for a bit first though.
They smell amazing. I can't wait to try them.
Me too. This was a really fun and tasty activity. Good morning, B. How are you today?
Good morning, A. I'm doing well, thanks for asking. How about you?
I'm feeling great, thanks. Ready to start baking some delicious bread and pastries.
Absolutely. We have a lot of orders to fill today. What's on the menu?
Well, we need to make some fresh loaves of sourdough, a few dozen croissants, and some fruit danishes.
Sounds good to me. Do we have all the ingredients we need?
Yes, we do. Yesterday, we received a fresh batch of butter and we have a variety of fresh fruits to choose from.
That's perfect. We'll get started right away.
Great. By the way, did you hear about the new bakery that just opened down the street?
No, I haven't. What's their specialty?
They specialize in gluten-free and vegan desserts. I heard their cupcakes are amazing.
Oh, wow. That sounds like some tough competition. But we'll just have to step up our game and keep our customers happy.
Exactly. Our customers come to us because they love our classic, homemade pastries. And nothing beats the aroma of fresh bread straight out of the oven.
I couldn't agree more. Plus, our regulars love the personalized service we provide.
Exactly. We know many of our customers by name, and it's always great to catch up with them when they come in.
That's what makes our job so special. We get to put a smile on our customers' faces and make their day a little brighter.
Absolutely. And speaking of putting smiles on faces, I think we should make some of those chocolate eclairs today. They're always a customer favorite.
You read my mind. Let's get started, shall we?
Sounds good to me. Let's make some delicious bread and pastries today. Hey there, B. Nice to finally meet you in person.
Same to you, A. I'm excited to discuss about the website.
So, have you had a chance to use the website?
Yes, I have. But there were some usability issues that I found.
Oh, really? Can you elaborate?
Well, the layout was confusing and it was difficult to navigate to the event pages.
I see. Did you have any suggestions on how to improve it?
Yes, we need to improve the user interface and make the event pages more accessible.
Good point. I was thinking we could also add more images to showcase the events.
Absolutely. That would definitely make the website more visually appealing.
We could also simplify the registration process to avoid any confusion.
Definitely. Maybe we could use fewer steps and minimize the amount of fields required.
That's a great idea. Also, have you considered adding a search bar for easy navigation?
Yes, we could definitely add that feature. It would make it easy for users to find what they're looking for.
How about the font and color scheme? Do you think we need to change those too?
Yes, we could experiment with different fonts and colors to make the website more visually stimulating.
That's a fantastic idea. We should also consider adding interactive elements to engage users.
Absolutely. We could add a section for user reviews and ratings to get feedback from our audience.
Great idea. I think that would help us understand our users' needs and improve the overall experience.
Definitely. We could also add a feature where users can save their favorite events and revisit them later.
That's brilliant. It would be a great way to encourage repeat usage of the website.
Agreed. And we could also add a social sharing feature to allow users to share their favorite events on their social media accounts.
I love that idea. It would be a great way to promote the events and increase engagement.
Exactly. And overall, we just need to focus on providing a seamless user experience that's enjoyable and easy to use.
Absolutely. Thanks for your input, B. I'm looking forward to implementing these changes and making the website even better. Hey there. So, as a front-end engineer, what do you think are the biggest factors that affect website performance?
Well, as a website tester, I've noticed that heavy images and unoptimized code can often slow down a site. But there are other factors too, like server response time and network latency.
Yeah, I totally agree. That's why it's so important to optimize images and minify code. Have you tried using any tools for that?
Oh, definitely. I use a few different tools, like Webpack and Gulp, to automate the process. It saves a ton of time and ensures consistent optimization.
Nice. I've heard that caching is also a great way to speed up load times. Have you found that to be true in your testing experience?
Oh yeah, caching can definitely make a big difference. It's all about reducing the amount of requests that need to be made to the server. Have you tried using a content delivery network, CDN, for caching?
Actually, no. But that's an interesting idea. Do you have any experience using a CDN?
Definitely. I've worked with a few different CDNs, like Cloudflare and Akamai, to improve website performance. It's definitely worth looking into if you haven't already.
Thanks for the tip. And speaking of improving performance, have you tried using lazy loading for images?
Absolutely. Lazy loading can be a great way to minimize the amount of resources that need to be loaded initially. It's especially useful for large image galleries or long pages with lots of images.
That makes sense. I'll definitely keep that in mind. Thanks for all of the insights. It's been great talking with you.
No problem at all. Always happy to chat about website performance optimization.
Good morning, B. How are you today?
I'm doing great, thanks. I'm excited to learn more about tea pairing with food.
Yes, it's fascinating how different tea can complement different flavors in food. Let's get started.
Sounds good. What do you suggest we pair with chicken teriyaki?
Chicken teriyaki would go well with sancha or gyukuro, as the umami flavors in the tea will bring out the sweetness in the dish.
Oh, that's interesting. What about something a bit spicier, like curry?
For spicy dishes, I'd recommend matcha or hojicha. The bitterness in the matcha and the roasted flavor in the hojicha can balance out the spiciness.
I see. How about seafood?
Seafood pairs well with green tea or oolong tea. The light and refreshing flavors in the green tea can enhance the subtle taste of seafood, while oolong tea can bring out the sweetness in shellfish.
Wow, I'm learning so much. What's your personal favorite tea and food pairing?
I love pairing genmaica with grilled salmon. The nutty aroma of the tea complements the richness of the salmon perfectly.
That sounds delicious. Can we try that pairing later?
Of course. Let's make some genmaica and grilled salmon for lunch today.
That's great. I can't wait to try it. Thank you for teaching me so much about tea pairing, eh?
You're welcome. It's my pleasure to share my knowledge with you. Let's continue exploring the wonderful world of tea and food pairing. Hi there, how's it going today?
Not too bad, thanks for asking. Where are you headed to today?
I'm going to Shenzhen to do some shopping. Have you driven there before?
Oh yeah, many times. I know all the good places to eat as well. Do you like spicy food?
I love spicy food. What's your favorite place to grab a bite in Shenzhen?
There's this great Sichuan restaurant that has the best mapo tofu. It's not far from where we'll be heading. You'll love it.
That's awesome. Speaking of good food, have you tried any new restaurants lately?
Actually, I went to a Japanese place last week that had some really unique dishes. Would you like me to recommend it to you?
Sure, I'd love to check it out. Do you like trying new foods?
I definitely do. Whenever I travel to new places, I always make it a point to try the local cuisine. What about you?
Same here. I think it's one of the best ways to experience a new culture.
Couldn't agree more. Hey, have you heard about the new ride-sharing service that's been getting popular lately?
Yeah, I've tried it once or twice. I still prefer taking a taxi though, it feels more secure to me.
I know what you mean. Plus, with a taxi, you can have an actual conversation with your driver, like we're having right now.
Exactly. It's a great way to learn new things too. You've been giving me some great recommendations so far.
It's my pleasure. Hey, we're almost there. Have a great time shopping in Shenzhen.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you for coming to my concert.
Hi there. I'm excited to hear you play tonight.
I'm glad to hear that. Which instruments do you like the most?
Tough question, but I do love the sound of the piano.
The piano is a beautiful instrument. I'll make sure to play some of my favorite piano pieces for you.
Sounds great. So, where did you study music?
I studied at the Sydney Conservatorium of Music. It's a great school with amazing teachers.
Wow, that's impressive. How long have you been playing music?
I started playing the violin when I was 5 years old, so it's been about 20 years now.
That's a long time. What's your favorite piece to play?
I think my favorite is Tchaikovsky's Violin Concerto. It's a challenging piece, but it's so beautiful.
I can imagine. Speaking of challenges, have you ever had any mishaps during a performance?
Oh yes, I've had my fair share of mishaps. Once, I dropped my bow in the middle of a piece.
Laughs, that must have been embarrassing. But I'm sure the audience understood.
Chuckles, yes, they were very kind. Have you been to many concerts at the Opera House before?
A few, but this is my first time seeing a violinist perform live.
Well, I hope you enjoy it. Do you have a favorite genre of music?
I'm pretty open-minded when it comes to music, but I do love a good rock concert.
Interesting. I'll have to try incorporating some rock elements into my performance next time.
Laughs, that would be something to see. So, what's next on your list of performances?
I'll be playing at the Melbourne Symphony Orchestra next week. It's a big venue, but I'm excited for the challenge.
That sounds amazing. Best of luck to you.
Thank you. I hope to see you at my next concert.
Absolutely. I'll be sure to bring some friends along too.
Wonderful. Thank you for your support. Enjoy the rest of the performance.
You too. Thanks again.
Hi there. Are you excited for our water activity today?
Hi. Yes, I'm really looking forward to it.
Great. Have you done any water sports before?
Actually, no. This is my first time.
No worries. We'll start with some basic instructions on how to paddle and balance on the board.
Sounds good. I hope I don't fall off.
Don't worry about falling off. It just means you're trying. Plus, it's all part of the fun.
That makes me feel better. How long do you think it takes to get the hang of it?
It really depends on the person. Some people get it right away, while others take a little longer. But don't stress, we'll take it at your pace.
Thanks, that's reassuring.
Okay, let's get started. Grab a board and let's head out to the water.
All right, here goes nothing.
You're doing great. Remember to keep your knees bent and look ahead.
Whoa. This is harder than it looks.
You're doing well for your first time. Let's work on your balance next.
Okay, I'm ready for the challenge.
Great attitude. Remember, the key is to relax and have fun.
Thanks, I'm definitely having fun. I can't wait to try this again.
I'm glad to hear that. You did great out there, and it was my pleasure to teach you. Hey there, B. What brings you to the self-driving car team today?
Hey. Just wanted to check in and see if you guys needed any help with the AI and software development for the autonomous system.
That's great. We're actually in the early stages of figuring out how to gather data and train the self-driving algorithm.
Well, I think I can help with that. I've been working on an AI algorithm that can predict traffic patterns and adjust driving behavior accordingly.
Wow, that sounds amazing. I've been trying to figure out how the car can make quick decisions in case of emergency situations.
That's a tough one, but I was thinking of integrating a machine learning algorithm that constantly trains the car to react to unexpected events.
Interesting. But what about the hardware components of the car?
Oh, I've got you covered. I've been collaborating with our mechanical and electrical engineers to ensure the software is compatible with the car's hardware components.
Sounds like you're a real team player in this project.
Of course. Teamwork makes the dream work, right?
Absolutely. Laugh, speaking of dreams, do you ever dream in code?
Laughs only on days that end in Y.
Laughs, I know that feeling. But seriously, thanks for all your help. I'm really excited about what we can accomplish with this project.
No problem, always happy to help out. Let's make this self-driving car a reality.
Hey there, B. How's your day going?
It's great, thanks for asking. How about you?
Can't complain. Actually, I was thinking, wouldn't it be cool if our phone interface was a bit more user-friendly?
Definitely. What are your thoughts on improving it?
Well, I was thinking of making the icons a bit larger and easier to tap on. Also, maybe we could add some helpful prompts for first-time users.
Those are great ideas. I was thinking of incorporating some more animated elements to make it more engaging.
Ooh, I like that. Maybe we could have some fun animations for loading screens and transitions?
Exactly. And how about making the color scheme a bit more vibrant and eye-catching?
Yes. And while we're at it, I think the font could be a bit more playful.
Oh, definitely. And what about adding some shortcut options that users could customize for their most frequently used apps?
Brilliant. And maybe we could have a feature where users could record their own voice commands to access those shortcuts.
That's a fantastic idea. I think we've got a lot to work with here.
Agreed. It's going to be a blast designing this new interface together.
Absolutely. And hey, speaking of fun, want to grab lunch and share some more ideas?
Sounds good to me. I know this great sandwich shop just a few blocks away. Good morning. I'm A, the barista here. Nice to meet you, B.
Hi there, A. I'm B, the roaster. Pleasure to meet you too.
So, you're here to teach me the secret to preparing proper Spanish coffee?
That's right, A. I heard you're interested in learning how to do it.
Yes, I've always had a fascination with Spanish coffee, and I'm excited to learn from an expert like you.
Well, it all starts with the beans. You need quality beans, roasted just right.
Ah, I see. So it's not just about the technique, but also the quality of the beans.
Exactly. Once you have good beans, you can play around with different brewing methods to suit your taste.
Can you show me how to make café con leche?
Sure thing. It's a classic Spanish coffee. First, you need to brew a strong espresso shot.
Okay, got it. And then?
Next, you add steamed milk in a 1-to-1 ratio with espresso, and then top it off with a layer of froth.
That sounds easy enough. Let me give it a try. Sips delicious.
Glad to see you're enjoying it, eh? Just remember, practice makes perfect.
Absolutely. I can't wait to keep experimenting with different blends and brewing methods.
That's the spirit, eh? With enough practice, you'll be a Spanish coffee pro in no time.
Thank you for sharing your knowledge with me, B. It was a pleasure learning from you.
My pleasure, eh? Stop by anytime if you want to learn some more.